Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Eccentrist Podcast. I'm your host, Vaughn Coleman, and today we're going to be talking about our top 10 movies of 2018. I am joined by 5 friends. It's my biggest episode yet, and we're each going to be giving our own top 10 lists. So, guys, let's start this off. I'm going to have them all introduce themselves.
What's up? I'm Jack Safer. Vaughn, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on yours.
I am Harrison, one of 2 Harrisons. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to... Harrison S, I guess you could say.
I'm Matthias. Yeah, I know Vaughn.
My name is Nathan Shaw, trillionaire, playboy, philanthropist, bird scooter activist, vegan slayer, and black eyed peas enthusiast.
And I'm
Thank you for having me on your podcast, Vaughn.
No problem.
I'm the other Harrison. I think you guys could just call me Harry for today.
Okay, Harry. So let's just jump right into our top 10. So here's how this is going to work. All right, so...
Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. So we're going to do our 10. Everyone's going to do their 10 through 6. Then we'll get to our top 5s, I think. Yeah,
And we're just not going to do honorable mentions.
No, honorable mentions.
That's 10 through 6.
Okay, I feel you.
Unless we want to do 5 through 2. No, we'll do top 5.
10 through 6, and let's do like 2 honorable mentions. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah. Or what we'll do is if someone mentions a film that wasn't on your list but is an honorable mention, just say that was one of my honorable mentions.
Feel you. All right.
Because we have a lot of movies.
Very nice.
So I'm going to get to my 10 right now. So this one almost didn't make my list, but I was like, I'm going to be kicking myself if this doesn't make it. Because I walked to the theater saying, this is going to be on my top 10. Holy shit, that was awesome. And that was a movie that kind of came out of nowhere, and it's Overlord. Any of you guys see that?
Nope.
No, I didn't see it.
Overlord was
I
awesome.
saw it with you, Vaughn.
Yeah, Harrison and I, we saw it together, and it was badass. It was like World War II, but it had these thriller elements. It was just badass. It felt supernatural.
Was it or was it not badass?
I want to talk about it for a bit. I actually also have it at number 10. What's it?
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, get into that.
A while ago, it was supposed to be the 4th Cloverfield movie. And then if you've seen it, Cloverfield Paradox was a complete fucking bomb. So they're like, maybe.
Oh, that's one of my honorable mentions. No, I'm just kidding. That was my bottom of my list. Literally the last one on my list.
Another Cloverfield movie. So they kind of took the Cloverfield name off of it and kept it as its own thing. And it was really good. There were a lot of reviews for it that weren't entirely positive, saying that there wasn't enough character development, yada, yada, yada. But there wasn't, like, the movie wasn't really going for that anyway. Like, that's not what it wanted. It just wanted to be a Nazi zombie movie, and that's what it was. And it did what it strived to do extremely well. So, yeah.
I actually really liked the characters. I'm surprised that was complained. I really liked them.
Yeah, I like them too, but they just weren't, like, developed as much as a lot of other movies have, if that makes any sense.
Number 9 is going to be Upgrade. This one was another one that I was afraid wouldn't make it, but I'm so glad it did. My friends and I, when I first saw the trailer, I thought it would kind of be generic. It looked like Venom, which people are calling it good Venom. Is what a lot of people are calling Upgrade.
Is it implying that Venom wasn't good, Vaughn?
Yes.
Venom was great. I liked it almost as much as I liked the Green Lantern.
See Venom. I really did.
All right. Well, anyway.
I laughed. I had a good time.
Yeah, no, I had a good time with Venom. I just thought it was I actually thought it was better than people said it was. Like, it wasn't as bad as Catwoman.
Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't a good movie, but it was. Even Tom Hardy said they cut out all the best stuff. But anyway, Upgrade was just really solid, really great action, great sci-fi, and for a surprisingly pretty low budget, it was awesome. The stuff they were able to do. The story went in directions I wasn't expecting. Ending wasn't what I expected. The action was awesome. The way the actor Logan Marshall Green, who people are calling like Tom Hardy because he looks a lot like Tom Hardy, the way his head would look so disconnected from his body, where he'd be freaked out while doing all this action stuff, and it was so well directed. They took what could have been just a really generic movie and made it something special, and I really liked it. I think it was just fantastic filmmaking.
Yeah, that was actually my number 11. So it just made the honorable mentions. Barely didn't make my top 10 list. I pretty much agree with you on everything you said. The action was like just the way they filmed it and the style of the movie was awesome. And it's just one of those purely, it almost felt like a 90s action movie. It's just like so much fun to watch. And I've been recommending that movie to everyone because I feel like it kind of like went to theaters and left really quickly. And people didn't really
I wanted to see it, but it was like gone within 2 weeks. And I was like,
I wanted to see it and I couldn't. So
definitely recommend that one also, Vaughn.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, let's see, if there's just one more thing like I want to say. Yeah, so I really liked all those aspects of it. And my friends and I, when we saw it, because at first they were like, this is kind of generic, let's just throw on a movie. And then they were all like, that was badass. That was awesome. That was so cool. And so Upgrade, I can't recommend enough. Highly recommend you check out Upgrade.
Was it as badass as the Overlord? Because you said Overlord was badass like 3 times.
All right, I'll try and tone that down, but
all right.
I'd say it was about equal parts badass.
What's your number 8, Vaughn?
I was afraid I was going to have to leave one of those 2 off, and I ended up sacrificing another one that I loved to squeeze those 2 on, which maybe we'll get to later. So Deadpool 2. This one is here. This one I had a blast watching. I knew this was going to make my list because it was so damn funny and it was just fun. And the villains were better this time because it was like what they did with the villain was kind of like twisty. Or they did with the X-Force was not what I was expecting. No spoilers, but
no, if you haven't seen it by now, it's fair game.
Yeah,
I would say
I really liked what they did with X-Force, but other than that, I don't know. I like the first one a lot better.
I think this one's better than the first one.
I think the first one's better.
I agree with you on that, Vaughn. I think this one was better. I think
interesting.
Like people oftentimes think like the first movie tends to always be the better one. But I feel like Ryan Reynolds had like more creative control with this one, where it's like the first one was kind of like experimental testing the waters. You couldn't go all the way edgy and like just like pretty like prolific with the jokes. But I feel like with this one, like he really was able to do whatever he wanted because how successful the first one was. And so they gave him a bigger budget. They gave him more like space to like do whatever the fuck he wanted. And I think like that resulted in a pretty fucking funny movie.
Yeah. They had to now because there was less focus on like romance and backstory. It was just 100% Deadpool, and then there was also Cable, and you had all these other characters that getting bigger roles. So because of that, it felt like all the best parts of the first movie, and then the things that weren't necessarily bad, but like the origin story and the love story weren't. I think even if we liked them, they weren't the best part. So having all the best parts of the first and a bunch of new stuff and taking it in just kind of a newer direction, I think this was I think it improved on the original. I think it was better.
I felt totally the pacing was kind of off.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the first half was trying to really like replicate what Deadpool 1 was. I thought it was doing it as well, but as soon as all that X-Force stuff started happening, that whole second and third act of that movie, yeah, I think it's perfect. I really, really enjoyed Deadpool 2, and I think just the way it like every character is so over the top, but it's so funny at every step after you get past that first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Thing with sequels where there's like the idea that bigger is better going into a sequel, and Deadpool 2 definitely is much bigger than the first one, but surprisingly, I think they handle. There's a lot of new additions in Deadpool 2, and I think they surprisingly handled it very well, all the new additions. Although I feel like maybe they threw in a little too much. Like there were some things that weren't as developed enough as I would have liked. I don't think in any way any of those additions were bad necessarily, but like X-Force and the Essex House setting up Mr. Sinister, I feel like those things could have been addressed a little more. I don't think it was a big plight, like a big, like very damaging to the film. I thought it was really good even without those. I just think it would have been even better if it dedicated more time to developing some of the new concepts they introduced.
See, I actually wait. Which thing was setting up Mr. Sinister again? I feel like because I like Mr. Sinister. I guess I don't know enough about him.
The Essex House, the orphanage that.
Right, that's what I thought. All right.
It was founded by Mr. Sinister.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I forgot about that. That was really cool. I liked that they had some surprise characters like Juggernaut. That was awesome.
That was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah.
I had no, I was like, who is that? My friend just turns to me and goes, that's Juggernaut. I'm like, no way. And then he comes out.
Juggernaut, bitch.
And then it wasn't that Juggernaut, which was very nice.
Nah. I would have preferred it's Juggernaut, bitch.
All right, wait. I have a question for you guys. So obviously, we would all be down to see a Deadpool 3, but putting our nerd hats aside and the movies we want to see aside, do you guys? Because I'll start it off. I don't think we're gonna get a Deadpool 3, but I want to get your guys' opinions. Do you think we're gonna get a Deadpool 3? Vaughn, you look surprised. So let me ask you, why do you think
get a
we are?
3?
Why are we gonna get one? Well, because I don't think Disney wants to make a Deadpool movie.
No, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, said that they're going to continue the Deadpool franchise.
Right, but obviously, like, Bob Iger can say whatever he wants to sound good in an interview, but when it comes down to it, do you think Disney's going to make that kind of... I mean, maybe you do, but I don't see Disney being like, this is the kind of...
No, I do. Deadpool is such a huge cash cow.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no way that Disney won't. Now, the big question is Disney going to make it R-rated?
Yeah,
or put it in the MCU. I don't think it'll be in the MCU.
If they did it, I think it would be in the MCU, honestly.
Wow.
But the question is, if it's in the MCU, would it then be R-rated? I think there's the possibility that it could be. I think it's possible, especially considering Bob Iger said that if they continue the Deadpool franchise, it would be R-rated. But also, and the Once Upon a Deadpool was a huge bomb.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they're trying to show Disney just how much of a cash grab Deadpool is, and that's why there's literally 3 cuts of the movie in less than a year, and that's kind of, I don't know. I don't think we'll get a Deadpool 3, at least not proper Deadpool.
Yeah, I'm with you, Matthias.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. All right, because I think Disney, even if it is rated R, I think Disney will tone it down in some ways, even if it still is rated R. Because people are feeling. I haven't been reading the current Marvel comics. People have been feeling that way about the comics, that they're toned down or whatever. People have been feeling.
Very well. I don't know.
Is that not the case?
I don't know about Scotty Young's the current run, Scotty Young's run, but because I haven't read it, but the last run, Jerry Dugan, I dropped off the book when he left. It was really dark and really heavy, and a lot of Deadpool fans, including me, consider it the best Deadpool run because it's probably the darkest and heaviest running story of that character. So,
well, I just meant Marvel in general, apparently, from what I've heard. But we anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta move on from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Number 7, Vaughn.
Yeah, I don't. Deadpool 3. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping it's good. So number 7.
Right.
Number 7 is going to be another Marvel movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Hey, I also have that. I have a number 8, but.
All right. Yeah. No, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I thoroughly
knew.
I'm sorry. Where do you have it?
9.
9. Anyone else have it?
Yeah, I think that's my number 10. No, it's my number 9.
All right. Well, we'll get into that. So
I didn't think it was that good, but I'll let you go ahead and then I'll bring up why.
So I really liked Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. At first, when I would see clips of it, I was like, I don't like this choppy animation. It seemed weird, almost. But then I ended up liking it a lot. I thought it was really good. It was just Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was I liked the animation style was good. I liked Miles Morales. I fell in love with the character.
Mm-hmm.
I knew very little about. Spider-Gwen was cool. I liked that they introduced all these things. They had Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir.
Mm-hmm.
The animation style worked really well. And it's so weird to see the studio that made the Emoji Movie come back with this.
Yeah. And then they made Holmes and Watson.
We'll talk about that later when we get to my list.
When we get to number 1, we'll talk about Holmes and Watson.
Yeah, no, I'm with you that I wasn't totally sold on the animation, and I'm
at first.
I'm a little bit surprised, and also at the same time not surprised to see that there's so many articles that are being like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the best superhero movie ever made. Like, I'm sure you guys have all seen those headlines. That's something.
Yeah, I don't think that's true, but
I don't even think it's the best superhero movie of the year, and I think.
Oh, I do.
No, I think it's the most comic book feeling movie.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Okay, well, maybe that's a different discussion. But in terms of quality, I think the animation, I loved how it actually translated to the screen, and it was just felt inventive, and it made me
like a comic book too.
Right. Yeah, it made me realize that like there's other ways to animate films other than the exact same thing that we see on screen all the time, which I think is the big takeaway for me. And I thought the story was really interesting, and I'd say my favorite element of it was the old Peter Parker. That was fun to see, like a schlubby, he called him like a hobo Peter Parker. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I really like its originality and the fact that it's not based on a specific comic.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
I think.
But
Well, actually,
okay, I'm a huge fucking Spider-Man nerd. Like I
love Spider-Man too, but you know more than me.
Spider-Man.
But yeah, what I really loved about the movie is how they handled Miles. Because my problem with Miles, even though I did like him even in the comics, was that he was really just kind of like Black Peter Parker. He was just Peter Parker, but a different skin color. And this movie really made him his own character. And seeing him interact with Peter Parker really differentiated him from the character himself. And I honestly think that the version of Miles in the movie is an improvement on the original version of Miles in the comics. I just really loved this movie's take on Miles and the rest of the characters. Like you said, there's like all the articles about how this is the best superhero movie. And more often I see like this is the best Spider-Man movie, which I still would give to Spider-Man 2. But I really love this movie. It has a lot more character, and it has a lot more character and emotion than I think any of the other superhero movies of the year did. Although you can argue the ending to Infinity War did, but no, I think just the entire movie of Into the Spider-Verse was a lot more heart-wrenching than any other blockbuster this year. I don't know. I just adored this movie.
I liked it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I want to hear what Nathan has to say about it. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it was like maybe I've seen like one too many Spider-Man movies, or like maybe I'm just getting tired of like superhero movies in general. But like I did not like the movie. I mean, it's not that I didn't like it. You know, to me, like I'm very indifferent about it. I was like that was cool. Like the animation definitely was really interesting to see. Like as I think it was Jack who mentioned before that like you have a new animation style, and you know it's like it's a comic book coming to life rather than an animated movie. That's how I saw it, which was really dope. But I feel like they tried with this movie. They really tried to take try to take everything and cram it all together. It seemed very forced. It seemed very plot driven. I didn't feel that like with Peter Parker. I feel like or with Miles Morales, like you said, it was literally just an African American Peter Parker. Like they didn't really try to like do anything too different or interesting with him. And I don't know, like I feel like I didn't really feel too connected to the movie. Like there wasn't really that relatability with the Spider-Man. And I don't know, like I didn't feel like any of the emotion with it either. So I mean, maybe I've just like gone completely heartless with this Into the Spider-Verse, but I really just like didn't see anything too awesome about the movie besides the animation. Like they were like
I do kind of agree that like some parts are forced. Like I didn't think the other members of the Spider people were very necessary outside.
You don't like Spider-Ham, bro?
No, I mean I enjoyed them. I like them. I just didn't think they were really necessary. I don't think the movie would really be missing much if they weren't there. They're just kind of there for a hee-hee.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I can see that.
I mean, that's true, but at the same time, because Harrison, I remember you saying that it would have been better if it was just him and Peter. But at the same time, as soon as it ended, you were like, oh, where was Spider-Man 2099? So I was like, they kind of had to put him.
You get all the characters in it, and you don't get Spider-Man 2099. That's kind of insane.
That post-credit scene was pretty cool, though.
It was. It made me hee-hee.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I feel like bringing in the other like Spider-Men from like the different dimensions, like that was cool, but it seemed like a cheap way of getting audience approval. Like I didn't really like, just thinking about it objectively, like there wasn't much that like these characters like added to the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. They just forced them in there. right? Like they forced him in there.
Yeah,
It
like
wasn't
Penny
even
Parker
clever.
didn't really contribute anything, or Spider-Ham. But I
Wait,
feel
is
like
it because she's Asian, Vaughn?
It's because
Great.
she's kawaii Japanese lolly spider. Okay.
Spider-Man
That's why-
Noir was pretty cool.
so full disclosure, the reason why
Nick
Nathan.
Cage.
All right, never mind.
No, Vaughn, you're not.
Nathan
cut
is
this part out.
Asian, okay.
All right, let's move on to the next one, Vaughn.
All right, yeah, come on, Nathan. No, I think I just loved it because it was like you could tell the people who made it were just huge fans and just loved the source material, and that's something that I just really love to see. And when you don't see that in a comic book movie, it's very noticeable.
Like
And you can tell
Batman
these
versus Superman.
Yes, like Batman vs Superman, and you could tell that they loved Spider-Man. They were huge Spider-Man nerds, and I love that. So anyway, going into number 6 is going to be.
Was that just number 7?
That was number
That was still 7, yes.
Okay.
So 6 is this one is I saw this with my mom right like a couple days before I went to college. So it was amazing.
sweet.
And it was Christopher Robin.
Bias.
Ooh,
Christopher Robin.
That's
And
I wanted to see that.
I wanted to see it, and then I even got a Christopher Robin like movie cup. It was it was so Christopher Robin just as soon as the credits started, I started tearing up, and I was almost like, oh my god, am I gonna cry? Because you see like they had like the old art style, like the storybook, and they play the music, and you see all the characters, and I realized like how much like because I don't think of Winnie the Pooh as like the thing that influenced me the most when I was little, but then it just brought back so many memories that I didn't even realize I had. They mentioned like the heffalumps and all of this. I'm like, oh my god.
This has nothing to do with the review, but I feel like seeing that like right before you left for college, like with your mom, is probably pretty emotional experience, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised. Like I would have cried like a little bitch, dude.
I almost cried at the opening before the movie even started because it was like they show all this stuff and it's all this nostalgia just hit me out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, like what's happening? But I loved it. And then the entire movie, I just had a smile on my face and I'd laugh. And it was just a good movie, and it just made me feel really good. Ewan McGregor
makes you want to go back to childhood. Makes you kind of just it's rewind time.
See, I didn't have that kind of reaction to that. Get Will Smith on the podcast. No. Oh yeah.
Podcast time.
I didn't see Christopher Robin, but it was banned in China, so that's cool.
What?
Yeah,
What did they do wrong?
Winnie the Pooh is banned in China.
Yeah,
because the memes about the president, right?
he looks like he quote unquote looks like some government person.
There
And
were
people were like,
there were memes. People in China made memes that the president looks like Winnie the Pooh, and the president is like really sensitive about looking like Winnie the Pooh. So he banned Winnie the
Oh
Pooh.
my god! I looked it up.
Wait, Matthias, you said it was an honorable mention for you?
All right,
Yeah,
might have to
I
put
really
this
wanted
I
to put it on my
the
list.
screen.
My list
Sorry.
was really hard to make. It didn't fit, but I fucking adored the movie. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember told me that you thought it was awesome, Matthias.
Yeah, I was the
It's
one
on your list.
who told you to go see it. You were on the fence about it, I remember.
Yeah, no, I was like, I wanted to see it, but I just needed to find time. Then you told me like it's really good, and I'm like, I gotta see it. And I'm so glad I did. I haven't had that big of a smile on my face in a while, and I mean that's not true. I laugh a lot. I was just laughing now, but just the entire
Bond writing a letterbox review. I smiled. Period. That's it.
I smiled. Badass.
No, but it was
Badass. Ron, would you
It was
describe
just such a
Christopher Robin
feel-good
as
movie.
badass?
But they had all the characters. Like they felt like the voices felt right. The only ones that felt different, it was like Kanga and Rue had accents for some reason, and I think Owl did too.
0 out of 10.
But
0 out of 10.
otherwise,
Kanga
no.
and Rue with accent.
No, but it was like Winnie the Pooh. Like they all looked really nice in live action too. I like that they looked like stuff.
Yeah.
They looked because at first I was like iffy, but I really liked it by the end. Really good.
Yeah, I remember when the first image of Winnie the Pooh,
I was a bit weirded
the
out.
character came out, I was really, really weirded out. But
It's like
it
the
all,
picture
it all
of,
just worked on the
You
movie.
were actually
Yeah, it
just
was.
looking at a
Like the
picture of
picture.
the president of China.
You know, maybe you'll be a better for
podcast
Sonic
is
the
made
Hedgehog. Who knows?
Oh my, Sonic the Head, that picture freaks me out.
Oh my god, that's the first image already.
Dude,
Yeah.
his calves are nice though. You can't.
I mean, he runs.
Sonic Scabs.
He's not thick enough. We need a thick Sonic.
Yeah, we could have a Sonic podcast when that
Like,
comes out. But yeah, that was my 10 through 6.
Thick like the boy from Zoom.
Sean, you remind me of the Sonic kid on YouTube.
Sammy Classic Sonic.
Yeah.
You freaking freak!
Okay.
When will you learn?
Be quenched.
That your actions will have consequences.
Okay. All right,
All right.
boys. So
Want me to get it?
we're gonna go with Jack
Nice.
Safer now.
Vaughn, did you
Jack-
just refer to us as gamers?
It was a meme.
All right, let's get this body of Christ. My number 10 is a movie that I actually didn't want to see at all for reasons you'll understand in a minute. And everyone was like, this movie's so good.
I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer.
Yes, it's actually that. No.
Oh.
People were like, you have to go see this movie. And I was like, no. And I actually didn't watch it until like a few weeks ago. And then I
Unfriended
sat
dark
down with my
web.
friend. Huh?
Unfriended dark web.
Close. You're on the right track. It was
Dark Web.
Hereditary.
What? That's your number 10?
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't like that movie.
All right, well, we'll get into that in
I
a second.
didn't like the
I'll-
movie.
All right,
I'll
no,
tell
get
you
into
why.
Hereditary.
guys,
Get into
okay.
Hereditary.
It's good. Just go on.
I have
Alright, chill.
Hereditary at number 1.
All right, chill. Well,
Dude,
spoil-
chill.
thanks for spoiling your
Yeah,
list.
thanks for spoiling your number 1.
Well,
Hereditary,
That
I
eventually
thought.
should have it higher.
All right.
No, yeah, but I didn't mean like number 1. Like you can
All
say it's on my list, but
All right. The reason that I put it, I mean, obviously it made my top 10, so I liked it a lot. If I had to go into like my issues before I go into what I liked about it, I was reading the reviews and everyone was like in the trailers, they're like, The Exorcist for a new generation, like all this stuff. And that was actually the reason I didn't want to see it. So I was like, I don't want to be scared. And then I saw it and I was like,
Yeah, being scared's for pussies.
yeah, Harrison will hate me for saying this, but I thought it was scarier than than Hereditary.
yeah, what?
I was
Yeah,
So
same,
what was
same.
scarier than Hereditary?
it with
It.
Pennywise the clown.
Okay, that's fine.
I liked Hereditary, and I
Yours
think as a
objective.
drama, it's like I think this movie should get like Oscar consideration, especially for Toni Collette's
Oh
performance.
my god, yeah.
It's
Excellent
just
acting.
the way they build tension in the movie up to that like ending, which I didn't love the ending, but I thought the way they executed it was good. So yeah, I mean, I really liked it.
See, a lot of people I know, even people that love the movie, didn't like the ending, but I love the
I
ending.
love the ending. I thought it was
I love the
amazing.
ending. That's the only part I liked.
Oh,
I didn't see the movie, but my parents were like, "Yeah, that's really good." So that's my 2 cents on Hereditary.
Yeah, you should check it out, Harrison. It's pretty good.
Harrison.
I will.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a lot of new.
All right,
I-
You want to go see the Meg instead?
Wait, can I wait, can I say my thoughts on it so we don't just talk about Hereditary again when we get to my
Yeah.
list?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, sure.
no. Everyone go
Yeah,
crazy.
okay. It was people said that it was terrifying and then other people said that it's not scary because there aren't jump scares every 5 seconds. But I thought it was really fucking scary because the thing about Hereditary is that it's not just about the ghosts and goblins in the movie. It's about like real terrible things that could happen to a family and the effects that it has on them. And that was fucking terrifying. I thought can I just go full spoilers? Is that okay?
Yeah.
No.
So it's not for Harrison. Harrison hasn't seen it yet.
Okay.
I'll take my headphones off and somebody.
No. No, it's okay. Don't spoil it.
Just the events in the movie that aren't even supernatural in any way are much more terrifying than
I think I know what
any
you're talking about.
fucking horror movie.
Yeah,
that
I think
It
I
has
know.
to do with a-
Yeah, it's just you
That-
just fucking spoiled it. Good job.
What? No.
I did not understand a
Yeah.
word.
He didn't actually do that.
You're safe. You're safe.
Movies
Wow.
ruined for you,
I
Harrison.
didn't think the movie was perfect. I think it definitely has some pacing issues where it slows down
Yeah.
a
it does.
lot going into the
Mhm.
second act. I don't think anything in the second act is bad. I think it just gets really slow.
Agree.
I didn't have anything on my list. I didn't think anything that I saw in 2018 was a 10 out of 10. But I thought Hereditary was the closest. I gave it a 9. I just took a point off because of I think it has some pretty bad pacing issues. But that's literally my only problem with the movie. I think I at least I hope that in the coming years it's going to become like a horror masterpiece or something. I thought it was just amazing, and I'm a
I
huge
thought it was
horror.
excellent. Yeah,
so-
no, I'm a huge horror fan too. Harrison and I know Harrison, that was your second time seeing it when it was my first because A24
Yeah.
was screening at Emerson. And when I saw it, it was awesome. Like there was that one scene that I'm not going to spoil, but you'll know it when you get there that Harrison was talking about. and the whole theater just went. I mean, it was already silent because it's a theater, but like especially just like dead silent because this one thing happens that just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, you could hear a fucking pin drop in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was, and it was just like, oh my god, and just the way the theater reacted to everything. It was just, there were moments that were genuinely chilling, and I don't get scared very easily by horror movies. I really don't.
Because Vaughn's a badass.
One could say, but the point I'm making is that it was like, it was just, well, there was no, from what I remember, no jump scares or no bullshit jump scares.
There's like one.
Oh yeah, no bullshit.
Yeah, I think
but there's
one.
one.
No bullshit
There's one
jump scares.
There's one jump scare I can think of, but nothing bullshit like a bird flying past the screen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if it's well
Those
executed,
are my favorite jump scares.
if it's well executed and it serves the movie, I'm fine with it. But if it's a crutch, not fine with it. That's my rule with jump scares. And I feel that it was just really well executed. And I think when you were, Harrison, we were sitting down eating pizza after seeing the movie and you were explaining it, having seen it twice, and how everything makes sense and everything builds towards the ending, it made me appreciate the ending even more. And the
It's
ending,
definitely a movie you have to see multiple times.
Yeah, I'll agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
One
I
last
gotta
point
see it a
that
second time.
One
Yeah.
last point I want to make about it is that regardless of what I think everyone could agree that it was at least like the people behind it definitely had talent. Everyone has to remember that this was Ari Aster's directorial debut.
Yeah.
This was his first movie.
that
and
is crazy, man.
It was so fucking good. And I could only like imagine where this guy is going from here. Because this is not only just a great movie, but it was this guy's first movie. He's only
It was
going
his first movie?
Yeah.
His first movie, and it was incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, just like Get Out. So yeah, incredible.
All right, so that was my number 10. My number 9 was Into the Spider-Verse, and the one thing I'll add about that was I think regardless of how any of us felt about the movie, I think we can all agree with Infinity War and the new Spider-Man PS4 game, and now Into the Spider-Verse. This was like the year for Spider-Man.
Don't forget Daredevil, which had the Kingpin.
Okay, sure.
Oh, yeah,
Good
Kingpin
show.
was a unit in this movie. I haven't seen Daredevil season 3 yet.
Absolute unit.
I'm halfway through season 3, but yeah. So
I
yeah,
need to watch
so
season 3. All right, anyway,
I
continue.
obviously I loved Into the Spider-Verse. My number 8 was Star is Born. I think this.
I haven't
the
seen this
movie-
one yet.
I love
And if
that movie.
you're-
That's on my list too. Yeah.
If you're gonna ask me right now who the Oscar contenders are, and I had to put a bet on it, I would definitely put some money behind this movie.
Everyone's
Was
favorite
it?
Oscar pick.
Right. It wasn't
Yeah.
when I was in the theater and everyone was like sobbing, and I don't cry movies, so I wasn't like that's just like not me. So it wasn't like I wasn't affected by it, but there's like definitely some chilling moments in this movie. It's definitely a hard movie to watch too. It's really depressing and it's really sad, but there's also some great musical moments. Great performance by Bradley Cooper. Awesome performance by Lady Gaga for like her first big film. I thought she did a great job. And directed by Bradley Cooper. I mean, this is definitely, I don't know how much I'm gonna
That was
go
his
into.
directorial debut as well, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And it's just like,
can you imagine winning Best Picture with your first movie ever? Like, oh my god!
I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, but
But even
Uh,
still, getting nominated.
that's a
I mean,
conversation.
granted, that happened twice last year. But
Yeah.
I think the performances were amazing. The music was also better than expected. Like it was really good. But
Yeah.
I found it really interesting that I discussed it with my parents who saw it like a day later than me.
Mhm.
And we had many different kind of like interpretations or ideas about the movie, but we all liked it nonetheless.
Mhm.
And I found that very interesting because I talked it over with other people and they also had like different interpretations. And it's also pretty cool that it came out around the same time as Bohemian Rhapsody, and they're both kind of like music-centered movies. And I think this one just absolutely destroyed it.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but
Yeah.
great things about this movie. I really need to see it. I really do.
I need to see
But
it too.
I
I didn't
didn't
think
see
the trailers did it anything.
Yeah, they didn't.
really.
They didn't.
I didn't see it at first because I thought it looked kind of cliche, and
They-
then I was too lazy to see it.
I didn't want to see it either.
in the trailers, but it was really something amazing.
Yeah, Harrison, where does this go on your list?
This I'm not going to say where it is on my list, but it's
Yeah.
it's on there, pretty high
Oh,
up.
it is.
And,
I feel like
Wow.
I gotta Go ahead, Harrison. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say I think the opening to this movie is perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Goes out on stage and it's just so
At Coachella.
Yeah, it's amazing. And another thing, they filmed one of the parts where they're on stage at Jazz Fest, which is a music festival in New Orleans, which I
it's like New Orleans.
You know, you could see
New Orleans. I went there for the first time this year, dude. Beautiful
awesome.
city.
You guys hang out?
No, because he was on vacation the 1 week I was there.
That is true.
That would have been hilarious.
How convenient.
I left. And about the ending, I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything, but I was about to start crying, and then unfortunately, I looked next to me, and me and my girlfriend were sitting next to each other. And I looked
okay, flex on us. All right.
And we looked next to us, and there's just this like 80-year-old woman just bawling her eyes out. But
I thought you were gonna say your girlfriend cried.
No.
And like
I started.
He just boyfriend flexed us.
Yeah, he just.
Oh, you're so mean, dude.
It was so mean, but I like.
What'd you do?
Like there's just this very old woman that you couldn't hear her crying, but if you looked over, it's just tears running down her face.
You first noticed because like the floor was wet, and you're like,
yeah. And I just like I was dying, and like,
by the time you got out of the theater, it was up to your
it was terrible. But
I gotta get out of here.
My one gripe with my one gripe with the Star Wars Born is I think that ironically enough, I feel like it kind of loses who its star is at points. I don't know who the main character is. You know.
Interesting point. I didn't really think about that.
Movie. Is that a bad thing?
Well, no, I see what he's saying. I see that point.
Yeah, I think that at the beginning it's definitely Lady Gaga's movie, and,
right?
But as it goes on, it becomes more and more about Bradley Cooper, which I don't really have a problem with. I think they're both phenomenal characters, but I think that it loses its central focus. Not the entire thing, but its central focus and central character. But besides that, I like it.
I like it.
I saw like the first half of it. I watched it on a particular website that I'm not gonna name, due to legal purposes. But I watched it, and it only contained the first part of the film. So I got to see. I mean,
Nathan's career is over.
It was in 240p with Korean subtitles.
So I mean, I can review the first half of A Star Is Born. But the second half,
Korean subtitles.
Are you saying that because I'm Asian?
Whoa!
That was
messed up.
That's not what I was thinking at all.
So messed up, Harrison Solar.
All right.
Come on, wherever you're at.
What am I on now? 10, 9, 8. All right, I'll do my number 7 now. This is a movie that I almost put it on my most anticipated list before I even there was even a trailer out for this movie, just because I heard about it and I was like, this sounds awesome. And it turned out to be one of the biggest surprises in terms of reception and box office, and that's A Quiet Place. This movie is freaking awesome.
That's on my list too.
Almost made my list, but because I did an entire podcast about it, I decided I'd omit that and put Overlord instead.
Yeah.
Wait, is this your number 7?
What number is A Quiet Place?
10, 9, 8, 7.
It's on my honorable mentions.
I have it at 9.
I have it at 7.
I almost put it on my list. It deserves to be on there, though. Amazing.
I think the one thing that everyone always agrees when we talk about this movie is that the theater experience is unlike any other movie, where you're like, you look around and everyone is just like silent. And if someone like goes to pick up some popcorn, everyone just like stares daggers at them and they're like, shut up. And again, I'm not like the biggest horror.
The tension was just amazing.
Yeah. And like, I'm not the biggest horror fan, but it's just, it's not even about kind of like what Harrison was saying about Hereditary, where it's like the biggest villains don't even feel like it's like the monsters, and a lot of the movie you don't even see what the monsters look like. It's just about the tension and waiting for something to happen that really sells the movie with like so minimal dialogue. I think John Krasinski for sure should be a contender for Best Director.
Yeah, I agree.
Love this movie.
I think it had the, well, not potential, but it could have easily been just a gimmick, but it wasn't.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it really cool. I didn't like the last shot though. Like literally the last shot, like the very last thing that happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Other than that,
I actually didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
I think the movie is good. I rated it a 7 out of 10. I think it's good. To be honest, I think it's a little overrated. I think it's definitely one of the best, probably the best, like, big budget horror movies in the last few years.
yeah, I'd agree.
Because when you have other schlock like fucking, I don't even know what else, the Nun and Annabelle, that shit, like A Quiet Place is definitely way above that. But I don't think it's as good as the indie horror that we've been getting in the last few years, and stuff like Hereditary, It Follows, It Comes at Night, stuff like that. I think the movie, I know you guys talked about the tension and stuff. I think the movie at times could be a little predictable. Like, oh, there's a nail on the floor. Is she gonna step in it? Oh, she stepped into it. I'm so surprised.
I was about to bring this up. It's not about whether or not she's gonna step on the nail. It's about waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, man, that's tension. That's tension.
Loading that gun, bruh.
Yeah, literally.
But what's tense to me is when something, like, you don't know what's gonna happen, and that's what's scary. Knowing what is coming isn't scary to me. That's why I also didn't really like it.
I disagree.
I think they revealed the monster in the movie too early. I didn't think they really had. I thought their design was interesting, but it could have been a little more intricate and better. Not to say that the design of the monsters were bad in any way. They were just kind of okay. And people do some really fucking stupid shit in this movie, which is, I guess, par for the course for horror movies, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not saying the movie was bad. It was a good movie, and I really liked it. I just don't think it's, at least in my opinion, top 10 worthy.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 6 is Matthias was talking about how something that could have been gimmicky with A Quiet Place. And this, when I saw the trailer, and let me just say up front, this was one of the worst marketing campaigns I saw for a movie all year. The trailers were awful, and it seemed like the most gimmicky thing ever in the realm of those unfriended movies. And my number 6 is Searching.
I've heard that was great.
Yeah, that was good.
I haven't seen it. I really want to see that.
I want to see it.
That's number 12 for me.
Yeah, I saw the trailers and I'm like, this looks so dumb. And they've tried so many times to do movies that take place on computer screens, and it's just like, it feels like a gimmick. But this movie used that format to like the fullest extent, and some of the stuff they do with how they're able to show the story on screen is so inventive and clever. And the story is really interesting. Like, if this movie had been filmed normally, it would have been interesting. But the fact that they challenged themselves and did it in this really inventive way just made it all the better. And I can't recommend this movie highly enough. It was probably my biggest surprise of the year. I love this movie.
And also, something that was great about Searching is that it was realistic. It's not like the dad isn't going like, I'm gonna hack into the mainframe to find my daughter. Like every web.
No, it's true. It's true. They do that all the time. Harrison, he cut out.
Someone hacked into his mainframe.
That shit, like, it makes sense. Like, if you're trying to find a missing person, my mainframe got hacked. Some badass hacked my mainframe.
Someone hacked into your mainframe. Sorry, what were you saying? The last thing you mentioned, I think, was hacking into the mainframe, and then you cut out.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I think everything that he does in order to find his missing daughter in the movie is realistic. Going on to Facebook to look at her friends list, going on to Venmo to see where she's transferring money. It all makes sense. And it's like, if you're going to make a movie about the internet, that's the way to do it. Not like fucking Ralph Breaks the Internet or Unfriended or some shit where these people clearly don't know how the internet works.
I haven't seen how Ralph Breaks the Internet. Your review, let's put it this way.
There's a fucking cat meme with the Like a Boss glass. And
I was laughing so hard at that movie.
Yeah, I wanted to like Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I just didn't, man. I love the first
My one friend said that it was like heartbreaking, and then Harrison told me it was like bad, so I don't know who to believe.
It was okay.
He said he like cried at the end, and then you were telling me they were like Fortnite dancing or something.
Yeah,
Ralph flosses.
He does. Ralph does Fortnite dances in the movie.
So that's my 10 through 6.
And Ralph Breaks the Internet is actually my number one.
So wait, do any of you have that on your list?
No.
Okay.
I made a separate list about honorable meme movies. It's there.
I haven't seen it. Okay.
All right, Vaughn, who's next?
Okay, so that was your 6. All right.
Yeah.
So Harrison S., that's gonna go to you.
All right,
We're gonna
okay.
talk about how Ralph Breaks the Internet is your favorite movie. Let's go.
Okay, actually, correction. My real number one is Zoom from 2006, starring Tim Allen.
All right, I'll put a picture of that on screen
All right.
for a second. All right, now actually give me your top 10. I'm gonna give us your
All
10
right.
through 6.
10 through 6. Number 10 is Overlord, which you already
Alright.
talked about.
Yeah.
Number 9 was Peter Jackson's documentary They Shall Not Grow Old, which was fucking
I
amazing.
really want to see that as well.
Have any of you seen it?
I haven't. I'm sorry.
Do you know what They Shall Not Grow Old?
No, I don't know what that is.
It was
I bought it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's really fucking good. It's a documentary directed by Peter Jackson where he restored 100-year-old.
Oh, I heard about that.
Into HD and color. And he also dubbed it with sound, and it's really incredible. It's
World
something.
War II footage or World War I footage?
Did I say World War II? Sorry, I meant World War
Yeah, I was gonna
I.
say World War II didn't have enough. Come on.
Yes, it's World War One. It was just so well made and so well edited. The remastering was really, really, really good.
What's it called again?
They Shall Not Grow Old.
I'm going to that something.
It's a part of history that we all know but haven't really seen. And even if we've like seen it, we don't really understand it because it's all grainy, shitty, silent black and white footage. This is in color, has sound in HD. It's incredible. It's a really good movie. You all should go see it. Number 8 for me was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Number 7 is one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in a really long time, and unfortunately, it was a box office bomb, so it's probably not getting
I think I know
its sequel, Annihilation.
Very good film.
Yes.
Very good film.
Yeah.
Just barely missed my top 10.
Barely
Same. Missed it,
Just barely
but I
missed
liked it a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't get to see it in theaters because my friends initially didn't want to see it in theaters. But then 2 of them were at my house, and we were like, "Oh, you want to watch it?" And then we watched it. And we were like, "Holy shit, that was awesome!"
Yeah, Annihilation is just so fucking good. It had the cast is so good. Natalie Portman, Jane the Virgin is in it. You got
Tessa Thompson.
You got Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok. It's so good. The action in it, the action in it is really good as well. The effects are amazing. The scene with the bear, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. This movie isn't even a horror movie, but that was one of the scariest scenes I have ever seen in any movie in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disappointing that this movie was a bomb because it's so good, and I'm sure so many people have seen it and they're like, this movie is too weird. I don't understand it. Like, what happened? I don't understand. I am a regular moviegoer, and all I understand is Michael Bay explosions. Okay, I just like my Transformers movies. I don't understand this.
I heard Bumblebee was great though. I know the producer.
Yeah, Bumblebee was
great. I really got to see it. I'm gonna see it with my family.
That's off topic.
Nice segue, Vaughn.
This movie is awesome.
I didn't like Annihilation.
Oh,
I really didn't like Annihilation at all.
Why? Why not?
Because he's a scrub and he only likes.
Did you not understand it because you only like Transformers?
Yeah, that's why Bumblebee is definitely on my top 10. No, I mean, it wasn't a thing of not understanding it. Like, I got the symbolism and I got what it was trying to say. I just didn't find it very engaging, and I don't know. I didn't like the story very much.
I liked everything. I didn't like the ending.
I actually did like the ending. I thought the ending was pretty cool, and I liked the scene that you guys were talking about for sure. I don't know, just as a movie, it didn't really work for me. Wasn't a fan.
I think the theme of the movie is about deconstruction and reconstitution, like how people are driven to destroy themselves, and that's been done so many fucking times in movies, but I don't think I've ever seen that like topic of humans destroying themselves done as well as this movie did. It did it.
I thought it was more about like yourself and reflecting on yourself, and
Well, yeah, it's because you're destroying yourself.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
liked it
There's
a
a lot
lot.
of room for interpretation.
Yeah,
It
yeah. I
is,
think it
but
has many different.
that was my
I gotta rewatch more analysis videos on it then.
It's on Hulu, so any of you guys or anyone that's listening, please go watch it because it's really good. Except for Jack. Jack.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously in the minority on this one, so definitely check it out
You're
because I
the
think it's.
majority. People hated it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
well,
I
you
thought
can say the
most
same
people
thing about
I thought most
the
people
ma-
didn't
Cinema
see
Score.
it because
like
everyone I know
mass audiences hated it, but badass lads like us, like we appreciate
I
it.
think
Let
most
me see what the
people.
cinema score was.
true intellectuals like us.
Well, I
Well,
don't think
Blade
people
Runner
hated
did
it.
terribly at the box office, and that was my favorite movie of last year. Some people
Yeah.
just don't
Yeah,
know.
it was my favorite movie last year too, but people are just
Same.
dumb.
Oh yeah, Annihilation got a C cinema score. Wow. And
Yeah,
I remember
people
This is
don't
what I
like
gotta
it.
say about Annihilation. Right. There's nothing I like better than a good old mind fuck.
Yeah,
and
I remember in the group
that's
chat
my
you came
favorite.
in and were like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, and I was really freaking out to Annihilation. I saw that with Lex. God bless that man. But anyways,
Tell me you mentioned him on the podcast.
it's it actually, I'm not gonna say exactly where Annihilation ranked for me, but it actually ranked fairly high. And I think it's like for me, I don't know. There's a lot of things that like people like, different people have different expectations for movies, and for me personally, like I think just like enjoyability of like, how much like the experience. A lot of people will be like, okay, I'm in film school, I'm looking for all the symbolisms, the motifs, the this, the that, how coherent, how the character development, which I think is all important. But when it really comes down to it for me, Annihilation was just a really fucking enjoyable movie. I think that was a movie that really had my attention, had me on the edge of my seat. It was really fucking weird, which I think the what the fuck factor like added to how intriguing it was, and how much like I was in anticipation the entire film. I rate it very high. I like the film a lot, and definitely like everyone has their own preference for movies, but like personally, like that's what I was looking for in a movie, and I got exactly what I wanted from Annihilation.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it in theaters, but I guess my friends weren't as interested. But then when you would go in the group chat and be like, "Holy shit," and everyone was talking about how amazing it was, and Noah, who couldn't make it on this episode, said it was his favorite of the year. Everyone was telling me this, and then when I finally saw it, I was like, "Damn, that was like really good."
I'm sure
And I was hot off of Blade Runner, so I was excited for a new sci-fi.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a few years it's gonna be a sci-fi classic.
Yeah, and maybe
I'm
I'll
sure
regret not putting in my 10.
It's gonna be a sci-fi classic. I'm sure it's gonna get a cult following soon. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want me to move on to my next one?
Maybe I'll regret not putting it in my 10, but.
All right. Anyway, my next one was a Spike Lee joint, Black Klansman.
Oof, yeah.
I wanted
It's
to
on my
see
list.
it. I wanted to see it, but I didn't get around to it.
Oh, it's actually not. It's in my honorable mentions. Good movie.
It's my number 10.
All right.
It's my 6.
Black Klansman is really great. It's a great story, and it's told very well with really good pacing. The actors are all amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me at least, a bit of the problem with it was it's a comedy, and a lot of the comedy didn't really hit for me. I know that's subjective.
Yeah.
It didn't really work that well for me, but I thought everything else in it was really, really great. Which is why I have it at number 6. But it wasn't. I tried to look at it more objectively instead of just like, oh, I didn't really have fun while watching it, which I didn't have like the time of my life while watching it. So I didn't put it in my top 5, but it's at number 6. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would need to see that one.
I thought the music was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
don't know.
the
The
music was
score. It was one of. I think might be
Yeah,
the
the
best score of the year.
Yeah.
Or that or Beale Street. Beale Street's score was great too.
I need to see that.
I need to see that too.
It's great.
The only thing I didn't like was the ending.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit too preachy.
Yeah, it totally ruined all the nuance that the movie had going forward.
It completely ruined the whole.
I thought it was like I didn't hate the ending.
it was, I don't know, it was just kind of like, it's nice to be like, okay, I kind of get what this movie's getting at, and then it was just like, here's what we're telling you.
Mhm.
There was one scene in it that was really fucking bad where it was Ron talking to, is that his name? Ron. His name is Ron.
Ron
right?
Stallworth.
Yeah, Ron Stallworth. He's talking to someone and he's just like can you imagine having a racist bigot in the office? Like that would never happen. And Spike Lee should have just walked down in front of the camera and be like, "Do you get it, guys? Do you get it?"
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like the ending.
Mm-hmm. Good pick, though.
At least it wasn't as stupid as when they were bashing Trump. I'm not trying to talk about my political opinions here. It was just like, that was really fucking unsubtle and just poorly done.
Yeah.
Right.
So next is going to be Matthias.
Number 10, Black Klansman. So
Terrible movie. I hated it.
Yeah. Number 9, Into the Spider-Verse. Number 8, I doubt any of you have seen this. It's a British film. It's called How to Talk to Girls at Parties.
Oh, I saw the trailer for that. It looked so weird.
That was screened at
Really
school, right?
fucking good.
That was screened at our school, but I didn't go to it. And then my friend Morgan went to it.
I hate the title, but
It's
the
Neil
movie's
Gaiman.
really fucking good. Like
Yeah.
it's better if I don't really talk about the plot a lot, because there's a lot of
Did it have to do with
twists,
talking to
things.
girls at parties?
Maybe.
I need that lesson at least.
But it's got some great performances, awesome music, very original.
Wait, Harrison, that would imply
It has a lot of style.
Oh, that's fair.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
It's very funny too. So
I heard it was like super divisive. Like, you either are on board with it and you like it, or you like hate it. But
when I saw it, that's like literally my first thoughts. Like, I know a lot of people are gonna hate this. Then I saw
You liked
reviews. I was right. Yeah, I loved it.
All right, I'll check that one out.
It's A24. They rarely back duds. Like Slice, great film.
Oh, I wanted to see that. Was it not good?
Is that the one starring Chance the Rapper?
I haven't seen it, but apparently it's really fucking bad.
I wanted to see that.
It got released digitally because they didn't have any faith in it or something.
Well, like Cloverfield Paradox. All right.
Yeah. Number 7, A Quiet Place. And number 6, Infinity War.
Oh, the big
I
one.
loved Infinity War, man. I loved it. That's in my top 5. Not gonna say where, but I walked out saying that might be one of the best movies ever. It's not perfect.
Whoa.
Ever?
No.
Okay, Vaughn, I know what you're saying. Vaughn, I know what you're saying.
I know what you're saying too. Vaughn.
It's one of the most important movies ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
not
the
saying
biggest
all agree on
movie.
that.
I'm not saying
10 years of movies combined.
and it's not bad. It's great.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
came out great.
It worked really well.
Like, that sounds like a recipe for disaster, but it's not.
I think this has been everything, not only that the MCU has led to, but that blockbusters have led to in general.
My friends all felt the same way. They were like,
It's probably the biggest movie of the 2010s. Maybe the biggest movie ever.
No, I think the first Avengers is like the bigger deal.
Well, in terms of like scale and scope.
No, I'm not
This
talking
is,
about
like, the
that.
biggest
I just
movie
mean in like cultural zeitgeist.
I mean, I don't know, bro. You
Yeah,
compare
the
box
first-
office numbers?
The first Avengers, I agree with Harrison Solar on that one. Is like it was a bigger deal. It was like the first time I think they really like
Because
successfully
it's
pulled off an
something when the
operation like
first Avengers came out, we've never seen anything like that before.
that. Infinity War was just that.
It's happening.
Yeah, Infinity War was that on steroids.
But again, it's got like 30 plus characters.
Yeah.
Does Nathan suggest that steroids is good?
Yes, I highly recommend it, especially for all the kids listening to this podcast.
Oh yeah, all 5
four
of them. All 5 of you guys.
All 5 people listening.
Wow.
It's just us. When you say other 5 people participating in this podcast.
There's 6 of us, so one of us isn't even going to listen.
But I think going back to the movie, the interesting thing is a bunch of us, I think Vaughn, Harrison, and Nathan, right? We did a podcast on my channel, which is the Typecast movie show on iTunes.
Shit.
Check it out.
Check it out.
We did.
We did.
And
Yeah,
that
we all
was-
talk about it.
That was back in
All have
either.
podcasts? Am I the
that
only
was-
one that doesn't have a podcast?
Yeah,
I
bro.
don't
What do
have-
you do?
I don't have a
No,
podcast.
it's just me and
I
Jared.
don't have a podcast.
Nathan has a YouTube channel though, which is cooler. Anyway, so that was like back in late April or early May, and I think it's cool now that we're in 2019 to see like people talk about, and even though it's like a meme, it's still part of the pop culture. Is like Thanos is something that's like stayed in the pop culture, and Infinity War, people reference it like, I don't feel so good. Someone says that and you know what they're talking about. And I don't know, Nathan, I don't know.
The movie had so many characters. Like, how did they get the rights to Thanos from Fortnite? Like, how did they get Thanos from Fortnite in the movie?
No comment.
I can't believe Epic Games allowed Marvel to put Thanos in
No, it's the other way around. You can't believe Epic Games allowed Marvel to put Thanos in Infinity War.
Yeah, I said Thanos from Fortnite into the movie.
Oh, yeah. All right, never mind. Yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing.
No, I think that movie's awesome. I enjoyed that start to finish.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think the only flaws are that I think some characters. I think it's really only Winter Soldier for me was underdone because I really like.
I think that's the one thing I'll say about the movie. My one negative that the other ones are kind of like nitpicks because we have so much more like investment in this movie than anything else going into it, right?
Yeah.
Because we care about all these characters. And the way they did it all, because I was just rewatching, I only watched half of it with my friends on New Year's because we ended up doing something else. We just had it on in the background. And I was just like focused on it. And then like what felt like was 20 minutes.
You didn't see it in theaters?
And no, it's just the second time.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I've only seen it twice, bro. Oh my god, I've seen this movie like
fucking noob.
No, I know.
Every time I'm on a plane, I'm like, "Ooh, what should I watch?"
Yeah, no, I know, because it's
and then they added it on Netflix, and I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
CPA, here we go, boys."
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm probably gonna like finish it again soon, but it's just like it's like it flows. Everything flows together so well. My one thing I'll say is I feel like the weakest part, adding to the Winter Soldier, was that entire group. I felt like was the weakest.
The
like,
Wakanda group.
Like Thor, yeah, the Wakanda group. That part I felt was the weakest part. Like I felt like Captain America didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Which I expected him to do a lot, but I guess he didn't, which is fine because we have.
Well, you know why? Yeah, of
to look
course.
forward to.
They're just saving this for.
Like Iron Man's.
I'm curious how the reception of this movie is gonna change when Endgame comes out.
Is it fair to judge a movie on the sequel? Like I'm pose that to you guys. What do you think?
No.
No, but
Unless
it's unfair to judge Infinity War on a lot of basic things as well.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
I really
It's a
love
very different movie from
Infinity
everything
War.
else.
Which is why it's so great.
I want to put it in my top 10 though. It had some problems, some of which I can't really blame them for. Like as already mentioned, I don't think all the characters are balanced very well, but that's not really fair.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Exactly. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that when you have like 40 something characters in a movie. It's hard to balance them all. Also, like Thanos' plan just makes no fucking sense. And this has been talked about to death.
I didn't realize that until I was in my economics class, and then.
Of course, it was in an economics class.
This isn't in my in the spoilers, but
everyone's
basically
seen
anyway, basically the plot is that Thanos is trying to kill half.
We all know the plot.
No, I know that. I'm just saying. All right, fair enough. No, I know everyone here has seen it. I know that. But my point is, and everyone listening has probably seen it too. All right. My point though is that one of my classmates goes, "Why didn't he just double the world's resources?
Double the resources.
Just make infinite food."
Because he's a madman. He's not a rational guy.
I think the biggest thing with it is Thanos is supposed to be right to a certain extent so that he could be proven wrong in Endgame. Like the whole thing with Thanos was like the whole movie was building a case for him. I saw it less as like the actual like tangible idea of wiping out half the universe. I saw it more like philosophical of if you want success, you need a sacrifice. I think that was the biggest thing. That's what the Avengers were unwilling to do with, they wouldn't sacrifice Vision. They wouldn't make a lot of sacrifices that they should have made, and like Thanos in the end was able to prevail with that. And I think that like in Endgame, you have a large philosophical like situation to address, which is, do you like how is Thanos actually right? Do you actually have to sacrifice everything to win, or is there another way around it? Or maybe the Avengers buy into that philosophy as well. But in the end, like with Infinity War, Thanos cannot be completely right. I fucking loved Infinity War. I'm pretty sure everyone did. And I thought it was a sick movie, and I would, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have put it even higher on my list. And it might even be my favorite movie of 2018 now that I really put some thought into it, because like I think it depends how you look at it. If you look at it as a single movie, you haven't seen any Marvel movies, and you just watch Infinity War, it's pretty fucking good.
I like how it gave no shits about people who haven't seen other Marvel movies.
Well, my friend started Homecoming, and he had no idea what was going on the entire time.
But of course, like, you know, for people who've actually like seen the movies, like it was like a major payoff in general. And I think like this is probably like the most important movie of probably like the past 10 years, you know, maybe even of, you know, since like the 2000s, of what you can accomplish cinematically.
I still think the first Avengers is bigger.
Well, the point is,
after the first Avengers, everyone in Hollywood has tried to copy Marvel because of how big of a success Avengers was.
Yes.
The first Avengers changed the landscape of Hollywood forever.
I would argue that Iron Man did that before the first Avengers, but that's a different conversation, I guess.
Wow,
I'm just saying, Infinity War
we went through this on my first podcast, okay?
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't on your first podcast.
I know. I'm saying you can listen to it. No, I was talking to Matthias because he was making fun of me for liking Age of Ultron.
You like Age of Ultron?
I like Age of Ultron. I thought Age of Ultron was dope. I'm going to take a stand for it, but that's a different conversation. It took me a while for me to actually take a liking to it. But
go watch the first episode of Longcast. We talk about that.
All right, who's next up?
Nathan, I think.
Yeah, Nathan.
Okay. Now that I'm looking at my list, I might have to even throw Infinity War to number 1. Just being honest. I don't know. It's an impulsive decision. We'll cross that. Address that when we get to it. All right. So number 10, I have Isle of Dogs.
Oh, that almost made my list.
That almost made my list as well.
But I love Isle of Dogs. All right, continue.
I thought it was cool. The animation on it was really good, or the stop motion on it was really good. And it was just, you know, obviously Wes Anderson makes like very intriguing movies. I didn't think the plot and everything was like, you know, super interesting. I didn't think the story was all there, but obviously, like, you know, stylistically, like it just makes a captivating movie that was enjoyable to watch. Number 9, I have
something about Isle of Dogs.
Oh yeah, go for it.
It's on my list too. I'm a Wes Anderson stan, and so I love all of his movies, and I absolutely adored Isle of Dogs. That movie was near perfect for me. But
the cast is amazing.
I thought the cast was
the cast was crazy.
My one thing with Isle of Dogs is that I feel like everything about that movie was better than Fantastic Mr. Fox, except the characters, the way they're presented, was not as memorable.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. I saw half of it on an airplane, so I can't really say much. But
the fights were awesome. Like
I still wouldn't say.
I love that.
I wouldn't say it's better than Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that's a fucking timeless classic.
I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox for the first time this year, actually.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
Really?
And it was really good, really, really good. And so was Isle of Dogs. No, it wasn't badass. It was just good.
All right.
No, but I have so much respect for stop motion. I tried to make a Lego Batman series, and then I tried for like 30 seconds. I was like, this is so tedious. Because it's like, it's so annoying to have to move it and then just take a picture every single time. So I have so much respect for people that do that.
I want a video of Vaughn trying to make that movie. Just like, he breaks a piece by accident.
We see it, and it's.
I wrote the script for multiple episodes. It was really well written. Like, so I'm actually really proud of it.
Okay.
I planned out the whole first season.
Vaughn, I'd want to read it. Vaughn.
I had a casting site. People were auditioning. It was awesome.
Put it in the description for this episode.
Yeah, it'll be in the description.
No, it won't.
I
made an announcement video too, like, oh, I'm making this new series. Deleted that shit because I didn't.
The next Voncast should be a dramatic reading of your.
It should.
All right. Number 8. I'm really surprised none of you guys had this on your list, but
we may. You don't know.
We might have it later.
Oh, that's also very possible. I there's a lot of story problems with this, and you know, there's a lot of critics that said, little nitpicky things with this movie, but I fucking enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Ready Player One. I
Love
really
that movie, dude.
Gamers
Honorable
rise up.
mention.
This movie's had an important political message, and that's gamers rise up.
I thought this movie was awesome, bro. I'm with you.
I'm so ugly. You don't want to see me. Oh my god! And then you see her, and she just like half of her face is just slightly a different skin tone than the other half. Dude,
Not even all the same character that sounds like this.
I'm so tired of fucking movies where the girl is like, oh, she's so ugly, like no one wants her, and then she's like really fucking hot.
Like Deadpool should do something like that, where the girl's like, where like she like says she's ugly, and he's like, oh, she's not actually ugly, and then she's actually just
Lady Deadpool. That would be cool. Lady Deadpool, which will be
funny.
Deadpool 3, and then she pulls out the mask and says, ew, you're ugly, you look just like me. That would be funny. That would be funny as hell. I agree.
Yeah. Anyways,
right, Nathan, gush about this movie. I want to hear it.
But yeah, Ready Player One. It was sick. Like, I think just watching it, I felt this nostalgia, this wave of nostalgia of childhood, if you may, that kind of overtook me. It was a really like exciting to see, and it was heartwarming to see like all these different characters that I like grew up with.
Different characters and Tracer.
Yeah.
If you take a shot every time Tracer appears, you will die.
I've actually feel like once. She only appear like once?
Yeah,
he appears like 5 times.
Wait, so you die from 5 shots?
Oh,
I don't know. I've never done a single alcohol before, so I wouldn't know.
All right, let's not get into this. I can continue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to fucking say now.
Just go
That was
on.
my train of thought on that one. Yeah, Ready Player One, really fucking sick. Family movie. Everyone should watch it.
Bro,
Very
I just got to
beautiful.
say, the scene where he goes, a little minor spoiler, but not really, where he goes backwards in the DeLorean, that was just so sick.
That
Like,
was
that was
fucking
awesome.
stupid. No.
Yeah, that was
Do
really
you
good, but
honestly
Fuck
expect
you, Harrison
Do
Solar.
you
Fuck
honestly expect me to believe that no one, after like 4 fucking years, thought to drive backwards? No one in the
Because
entire
you
world
lose
thought to
everything. You
drive
lose
backwards.
everything.
Bro, you must hate, like, fun. How you try to pick that?
If you told me it was like, oh, the contest started like 2 days ago, like, okay, I could believe that. Honestly, this has been up on the Oasis for like 4 years, and
Oh
no
my
one thought
god.
to drive backwards. Shut up,
bro. I just
Harrison,
watched the movie
Harrison,
and I
you
was
sound
like,
you
oh,
sound
this
like John Malkovich from Bird Box right now.
I didn't see that movie. Bro, I don't know. I thought it just watching it was just like fun. Like that.
It was so fun. No, it was
fun.
really
I
fun
really-
experience.
It was clever. There were clever moments in the movie where I was like,
Right.
oh shit, this is awesome.
The
Yeah,
Shining
I'm with you.
sequence was really great.
Yeah, that
was
was
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, because that's
The
what I
movie
loved. This
visually.
movie, it kind of knew what it was. It was like it wasn't like there were some actually like kind of deep scenes, like when they said gamers rise up. No, I'm kidding. That wasn't actually deep. But when they were like no, but there was some moments. Like I like the fact that the guy who created the game is like socially awkward. I really like that they added that.
Yeah.
It was a nice
But
thing.
he's
It wasn't
hot,
like
though.
there's some
He doesn't look like fucking me, who has like
Yeah.
3 chins, dude.
Okay, well,
Everyone's in the movies hot.
well,
And they
whatever.
weren't like that.
Oh.
Like they shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, Goro from Mortal Kombat. Matthias, did you find him hot?
Yes, dude.
Oh yeah.
How
No,
could
but
you
no,
not?
that's what I love because I saw it with 2 of my friends and we're all like kind of nerdy, I guess. But
No, and the other
I guess I was
thing-
the most nerdy because I recognized everything. It's like, holy shit, that's Goro from Mortal Kombat. That kid.
Because he fucking walks in front of the screen and she has a conversation with Goro. It's not like hard to spot.
No, I know, but I
The
mean, like, or like there would be a scene where they're outside by the wall and it was like Raven like spray painted on the wall from Teen Titans, like all these things.
Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that stuff more.
Like it's not amazing filmmaking, but it's just like that shit was just awesome to me. Like it was, it didn't make my top 10 because I don't think it's one of the best movies ever. But it was a blast to watch in theaters. The Iron Giant, when the Iron Giant, and then transitions to a T2 reference. Come on,
Dude, the Iron Giant was fucking killing people. Like, why?
The car chase
Did
at
you
the
watch the
start was
movie?
amazing. I love that car chase with the T-Rex. God, that was
And
awesome.
the bike from Akira as well.
And the other thing
For
I don't know.
DeLorean? Are you kidding me?
I don't
Yeah.
think it's a good movie,
you're getting
but
your,
I definitely think it's a lot of fun. It's really
Disagree.
fun to watch.
I think it's good. Good pick, Nathan.
Wait, can I just talk
Thank you,
about the
Jack.
fucking ending for a second?
No.
All right,
So
get
they
the fuck
shut
out.
down
Get the
they
fuck
shut
out,
down the
Harrison.
Oasis for like what, like they keep it only open like 2 days out of the week or
Yeah.
something.
No,
What assholes? They're so mean. What about people that have no lives outside of the Oasis?
that's the point. They
Fuck
have to
their life away.
they have to find lives, and I thought it was only closed on.
What about like fucking like people that are shut-ins and they have no ability to
Well,
have
they
lives
have to go
outside
find
of
them.
the Oasis?
Then
It's
they
just a
have to
fucking-
get lives.
It's
They
just
have
like,
to get
look at me,
lives.
I'm rich and I have a hot girlfriend who says she's ugly. All you other people, you just gotta suffer through shit. Did you see these other people's lives? Holy shit!
Oh my
I mean, I
God,
live in
Harrison!
Ohio.
I feel like your top 5 are all documentaries now.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say.
Okay, actually,
Nathan,
only
Dude,
4 of them.
the other thing that I
Only 4 of
hated
them.
about the movie was the what was her name? The
ugly
Tracy.
girl.
no, the main character's best
Tracer?
friend.
But
who turned
I'm
out to be a
all-
woman.
Oh yeah.
That was like, and they played that like a huge reveal.
Oh
It's-
yeah,
I-
no, and
I
it
didn't.
was-
I didn't see it coming. I'm gonna be honest.
You're a
I didn't see it coming.
girl.
I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Girls play
That's-
video games, dude.
That's like up there. That's like up there with the Darth Vader "I am your father" reveal. No one saw that coming.
you mean the
Wait,
Palpatine
what? Darth Vader is
reveal?
someone's father? What?
All right, Nathan.
Darth
What's
Vader.
next?
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
Vader is
Hold on. Wait.
Yeah. Harrison Costello.
Before you continue, because I also have this on my list.
Wait, how are you doing yours? Because Harrison hasn't seen as many movies. Are you doing?
Oh, I know. I'm still doing 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Just you wait. My thing with Ready Player One is I don't know if any of y'all have, but I read the book and I absolutely love the book. I read the book
I'm
3
part of the
times.
book. Oh, wow.
But my thing is that I think the book was genius. Every single challenge with the key in the book was different than the movie, and I went into that movie hoping that it was going to be like the book, and it was nothing like it. And I think the book did everything so much better. There was actually purpose to the book. There was actually it was actually saying something about like society and like
We live in a society.
yeah, we live in a society. But
I tried to read the book, but I was doing the Bird Box challenge, so I couldn't read any of the words.
Anyway,
Sorry, continue, Harrison.
well, I'm done. Nathan, you can go.
All right, no. So you thought it was because I've heard the book is very good. My
book is
teacher
good.
was telling me the book was really good.
I gotta check that out. I think yeah, I mean I know I have nothing to compare to, you know. I obviously didn't read that, but you know, it was a really cool movie. I liked it. All right.
Wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, I'm running out of things to say
the
with this.
Bird Box challenge.
All right, Nathan, hit us.
All right, Ready Player One was
No.
number 7.
Oh,
number
no,
8.
you're still going. Sorry, I thought Harrison was Harrison's turn. No, sorry.
Nah.
No. All right, my number 7 is Sicario 2.
Haven't seen it.
Didn't see it.
I haven't even seen the
I
first.
saw it.
Okay,
I thought it
you
was sick. I thought it was badass. Okay, there's not much to say since it was just me and Harrison, but let's have a little discourse here. But I mean, I like in general, like I really enjoy like I really like the first Sicario movie because it wasn't just like your typical like war like battle movie that's just, you know, like very like a heroic valor kind of thing, but it's a very like dark, grim, like just badass, as quoting Von Coleman here, movie that was just really cool to see. I don't know, Harrison, I want to get your thoughts on it. What do you think of Sicario, the second one? Do you think it was as good as the first?
I thought I still haven't seen the first. I feel really dumb. I only saw this because they were screening it at USC this summer, and me and Toby went and watched it. But I really enjoyed that movie. I thought that it was like kind of dumb and kind of campy at parts, but I thought that the action was great. I thought that just some, you know, I don't know. It's just a fun action movie, you know. And then yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I thought the beginning especially was very good.
Yeah, they have like really just jarring, intense action sequences.
Like the grocery store part was insane.
Yeah, no spoilers with it, but like the Sicario 2, I'd say is like has one of the like most amazing out of 2018 at least, probably like one of the best introductions into a movie that I've seen this past year. Like, it's just so jarring and just really just immediately takes you into that world, and establishes the emotion that, you know, the emotional fear that kind of like takes you throughout the movie. I think it was really awesome. So highly recommend Sicario 2. See the first one, see the second one. It's pretty fucking awesome. And then my number 6, as we heavily discussed before, Black Klansman. Thought it was dope. Black Klansman.
Haven't heard of it.
All right, I guess we're going to my list now. So I want to preface my list by saying that I've only seen like 12 movies this year. So my list is
Hit
a
us
little.
with the 2 that didn't make the cut first.
The 2 that didn't make the cut. The Meg didn't make the cut. And
Oh, damn. I like that one a lot.
what else didn't make the cut?
I didn't see it.
Probably number
Slenderman,
1.
I assume?
What about what's the next one?
Slenderman?
A documentary that I watched in my economics.
No, bro. Don't tell me this is about to be your number 10.
No. Okay, so
Number 1.
I'm going to my number 10. So my number 10 is a movie called Slender Man.
It is your number 10. You lied.
I hated this movie. I thought this movie was absolute
Wait,
garbage.
but it was better than the Meg?
Yeah, no, because it was hilarious. I thought it was.
I put Slenderman right at Zoom 2006 starring Tim Allen.
Yeah.
This is best of 2018, Harrison. Let it go.
Slenderman. Basically, it's one of like probably the worst made movie I've ever seen. Like ever seen. Like nothing makes any sense. It's just really
And it was
bad.
released like 8 years too late. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. Like I can't even begin to explain how bad this movie is, but I do recommend, just turning this into a drinking game. You know, you drink at any time.
Harrison, how old are you?
How old am I? I'm 21. I turned 22 in February.
Mm-hmm.
In what
my
state
God.
are you 21, Harrison?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
And what state do you currently reside in?
Right now I'm in Louisiana, but that's temporary.
So you have 2 driver's licenses.
No.
You want me to cut this out, Harrison?
No, I'm fine. All right, for sure. Go.
So
for it.
Harrison Costello, where are you applying to college again? And
Anyway.
Continue explaining why. So it's worth an ironic watch because I was watching.
It is completely worth an ironic watch.
Because I was watching Food Fight with friends yesterday.
Vaughn, I think you would actually really enjoy this movie.
We watched Killer Pinata together, so I'd be down to watch this.
All right, I'll go to my number
You
9
guys ever
now.
seen Killer Pinata?
My number 9 is let's see, what is it? It's Ready Player One.
yes.
Gamers rise up.
We already talked about
Rise
this.
up.
We already talked about Ready Player One. Let's go to my number
Take
8.
a shot.
I saw this one with Nathan during a very a very fun night. It was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I hated it.
You're welcome.
I thought it
It
was
was
like like it's not a bad movie, but it's like bottom.
Oh yeah, no, Jack, thank you.
I
That's
got you
almost
tickets to this,
average.
bro.
There's actually 2 people in here who contributed to my effort.
Oh, it was Jack who is that the reason why we're able to see it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
made the reservation because I got an email, but I was
Oh,
going to be
thank
out
you,
of
Jack.
town, and I was like, yo, Harrison, you want to go see this movie? He was like, yeah. So I put you guys down for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
sick. Thank
so
you, Jack.
Then me and Nathan saw it, and I thought, it's a Marvel movie. I like Marvel movies, and it was a fun Marvel movie.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, this one like wasn't in my honorable mentions or anything, but it's definitely like I feel like we always expect Marvel movies to be great. So when they're good, it's like okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this is another Marvel movie. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but it was like definitely low tier Marvel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very low tier
It was
one.
definitely one of the lesser Marvel movies. I'd say bottom 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
feel
I
like
agree.
what made the first one so great was Edgar Wright's input, and he obviously didn't have anything to do with the
Agreed.
second one.
Well, I mean, we don't know how much input he really had in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, one scene in the movie,
You can
one
tell,
of the
though.
best action scenes in the movie was directly lifted from the one. It was just a shot-for-shot remake of the one scene Edgar Wright directed
yeah.
and teased.
Facts.
So
All right,
yeah.
and then my number 7 is Sicario. 2.
Here we go, boys.
Number 6 also.
Oh, number 6 too.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. All right, boys. All right.
My Von home stretch.
So here we go. Top 5. So my top 5, I kept switching the top 5 around. Because there were a couple movies that I had to leave off my list. We'll get to honorable mentions if need be. So I'm gonna say. So for some honorable mentions, I'll get to that later. All right. So number 5. This one I considered closely for my number 1. When I walked out, I thought this is gonna be my number 1. As I thought about it more, it ended up switching around, but I still love this, and that was Creed 2. I saw this over a month late, but I loved Creed 2. I had to catch up. I had to catch up on Rocky 3, 4, and Creed pretty quickly.
You can watch Rocky Balboa?
I haven't seen Rocky 5 or Balboa yet.
Rocky Balboa is actually pretty good.
I've heard it's great. No, I've heard it's great. Anyway, Creed 2, I loved Ivan Drago. I like how they made him an even better character than he was in Rocky 4, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I like the way they incorporated the mom. Because all the questions I had after Rocky 4, like, what happens with Ivan Drago now? Like, does his country disown him? All of this stuff, it all gets answered. Because I was like, because he was looked at as like almost like a piece of meat. Like even his wife was like, oh, look at this perfect human specimen. I was like, what? So I'm like, now that he lost, is she gonna disown him? And like all these things ring true. And you see how he just like is now broken, almost like I must break you. But he got broken, and how it's like him and his son. I love the way they did Ivan Drago. He was great. I kind of wish that Adonis Creed hated Ivan Drago more because of what happened with his father, which it spoiled in the trailer. Actually, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Bro, the movie's been out for like 30 years.
Apollo Creed is actually probably my favorite part of the Rocky movies. Actually, I love Apollo Creed. So I kind of was hoping Adonis Creed and Rocky would hate Ivan Drago, especially Adonis Creed would hate Ivan Drago even more. So that kind of threw me off, but I thought the performances were great. Michael B. Jordan killed it. Tessa Thompson was great. The relationship between the two of them was great. The fights were awesome. That one scene where she comes out, where it's like it cuts and you see how she's kind of like more hands-on than Adrian was with Rocky, I feel like. I like the fact that she opens up and starts singing for him, how like the lights go out and then
I didn't love that. I thought
that was awesome. And then she walks out and starts singing, even though I don't like that style of music that much. I like the fact that she kind of starts singing and he starts going and just starts pumping it, like, because the Rocky movies, they always have this awesome intros, even from the original. And then just the fight scenes were great. I love I think Ivan Drago and his son, Victor Drago, I think they were two of the most interesting villains we've had in Rocky movies. I really liked them, and I really liked Adonis Creed. I felt like some things were kind of weird, like how Rocky initially said no. Like that felt like that was just because the trainer says no at first with every single Rocky movie. So it was kind of weird because that would be like, because there seemed to be no motivation for Rocky to say no to training him originally, because this is Ivan Drago. He should have been more motivated than ever. So it was really weird that he said no because he knew he would take up the fight anyway. So that felt really off. I was like, why would he not train him? But otherwise, I really dug this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be hard to watch this movie and be like, I didn't like that. It's sick. The training scene is freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
I love the music, the way it was incorporated. It was like, I don't think it's as good as Creed, but I think it was
I think it was better than Creed.
No, I think it's just a little bit below. A little bit below Creed.
But I think like this is exactly what I would want for a follow-up to Creed. Is what I would say. It was awesome.
I think Drago has definitely become. I honestly, in my opinion, this is a little controversial. I didn't really like Rocky 4, and I don't think it's a very good movie.
Oh, I don't think it's a good movie.
I don't think it's a great movie, but I enjoyed it.
But and I really didn't like Drago. But just because of this movie, he's become like.
Yeah, I agree. Because I just watched Rocky 4 recently. I don't think.
Rocky villain, I guess you could say. He was really well acted.
His acting was really good. I thought Drago was kind of a boring. I'll be honest with you. I thought he was the most boring opponent of the 4 Rocky movies, the first 4. I thought like Apollo Creed especially was most interesting, and Clubber Lang were so much more interesting than even Drago. But then even Drago became so interesting by the end of this movie.
Yeah, it was really great. That I had Creed 2 at number 11. So it almost made my list, and then it was kicked off at the end of the year by They Shall Not Grow Old at number 9. So I almost had it.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings me to my number. Let's see. You know what? Screw it. I'm switching my 3 and 4 around real quick.
Blasphemy.
Audible.
That is not badass.
And so my number 4 is going to be 8th Grade.
Ooh,
Oh, great movie.
that's my number.
So this
4 as
movie made me more uncomfortable, more uncomfortable than any horror movie did this year. More unsettled, any horror movie. There were scenes because I was watching with like 3 of my friends, and there would be scenes where my friends and I would just go like, oh, like I'd actually feel myself cringing. No, it was just, you know what I mean? Like there were scenes. This movie captured the awkwardness of being.
I loved it.
And the stress of that
so movie,
perfectly. Because I heard it was cringy, but it was intentionally cringy.
Yeah, of course.
The whole time. Like when she would say Gucci, I'd be like, that's not.
Well, also you have to
But
remember
8th graders
that
were
took place in
cringy.
2017.
Like
It
we
took
weren't
place in
better. No,
2017.
but we weren't better in 8th grade. We listened to like in 7th grade. I think we listened to like Gangnam Style. Like we weren't better. So it's like, I understand it.
Yeah.
Like you know, it was really well directed. I feel like
It was really funny as well.
Yeah, it was funny. It was also really but it was like
bad.
painful. I felt so bad for this girl.
Yeah.
Elsie Fisher did a great job.
As
I
someone,
like the fact that there was no makeup either. Yeah. It added to it. I like the fact that even just how exaggerated things were. Like one scene that I thought was funny was when the boy with the best eyes, the Chad kid.
Yeah.
It does the, like, and he just zooms.
Yeah. It's just
that
perfect.
was just. It was so funny.
One of my favorite movies of the year by far.
Yeah,
I liked it. It didn't quite make my honorable mentions or my list, but I thought it was great.
I thought it was.
actually have 8th grade at number 2. I really fucking loved it.
I loved it. I almost put it at number 1. All my top 5, all of them I consider for number 1.
Even just like a personal thing, like as someone with mental health issues, like it was one of like the most real movies like I've ever seen in my entire life. And there's a lot of scenes like the way people talk to each other. Like I was just like, that's fucking real. Like that's what it's like to have like these issues. There's the scene where she's doing a vlog. I have an anxiety disorder, and she's talking about how she deals with anxiety, and like the metaphor she gives about the roller coaster was like, holy fuck, that's exactly what it's like. The movie was written with such heart, nuance, and knowledge. Bo Burnham really fucking understands what it's like.
And this is the first time movie, right?
Yeah, the 2018 was a great year for directorial debuts. Ari Aster with Hereditary, Bo Burnham with 8th Grade.
I take it you like A24, Harrison.
Boots Riley.
I very much do. John Krasinski with A Quiet Place. Oh,
Bradley
great.
Cooper.
Well, I don't think that was John Krasinski's first movie.
It wasn't. I think it was his third.
Oh shit, I'm fucking retarded.
I think it's his first big one, though. I'm pretty sure.
Still, regardless, back to 8th Grade. It was done with so much heart and so much care, and it just really spoke to me, and I just fucking loved it. So I have it at number 2, right behind.
It was.
Yeah, no, like I said, it could be anywhere in my top 5.
Yeah.
Great movie. In fact, I just switched it now.
The child actors on this were amazing.
Really fucking good.
It was really cool how the whole movie was really predictable, I think, but it was still extremely enjoyable, and the execution was just wonderful. And I just loved the last scene for those who have seen it, like that.
With the dipping sauce. Was that the last?
Yeah,
scene?
like that whole sequence.
Yeah, no, because my friends, as soon as that one character got introduced, we were like, my friends, we turned to him, he's like, that's one of the boys. Like, that's like, because we could tell, because he's like, this kid's awkward. Like, yeah, he's one of us. Last time someone acted awkward, we were like, that's one of us. That's one of us.
Yeah.
And it's great because it's everyone, like, a lot of people were really awkward during that time. I think, and it felt like it wasn't scripted, like, certain parts, and in a good way. Like, it felt like the way things, it was, because the way they speak,
it just flowed.
It's like, like there's no way all of that was scripted.
Yeah.
If it was,
It was
Wow, like all the all of the
yeah.
like just these things, the way she fumbles her words as she talks. I relate to all of that shit. Everyone does. Even occasionally, I'll do that. Someone will be like, "What are you saying?" And I'm like, it feels, and everyone relates to that. Like I've never seen a movie nail awkwardness that perfectly. In fact, it might even, like I said, this could be my number one. Like all of my top 5, I consider all of them really my number one.
It's definitely one of the best. Like
I'm just kind of talking about them in a certain order.
like the stories about being like not necessarily a coming of age story, but like a growing up story. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just a story of you growing up. One of the best in the last decade.
Oh yeah, so good.
And also, I thought the way it handled how technology plays a part in our daily lives, I thought that was handled really well. It wasn't like
it wasn't like
I just saw the movie The Mule, and like every few scenes, it's just like phones are bad. Phones are bad. We shouldn't use phones.
we live in a society. Yeah.
But like the way 8th grade talked about it and talked about how smartphones and whatnot could be bad for you was nuanced. It wasn't just saying like
really
it's
nuanced.
bad for you. It's just like it's something that exists and it can have negative consequences of people. It wasn't a full negative side. It was a nuanced like portrayal of those problems, which I don't think has ever really been done before in movies that discuss social media.
Yeah, I mean, really think about it. This is just a great movie. It's really good.
I didn't think it was gonna be that relatable. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I went to I'm still going to a K-12 school, so I pretty much know everyone in my grade for forever. And the protagonist is a girl. It's in the US. Like I don't know. I didn't feel it was gonna be that relatable. But there's just something for everyone.
Yeah. So we had something come up. So Jack, you got to go soon. So
you're sending me in right now. All right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do my top 3 later.
Yeah.
After Jack, we're gonna come back to me. But Jack, give me your top 5.
And I'm sorry, I gotta go, but I'm gonna try to do all these movies justice because I think they're fantastic. My number 5. My number 5 is what I think of all the Best Picture contenders easily for me of the ones I've seen. I think is the best one and should win, and that's Green Book. This movie is phenomenal.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I've heard good things too.
I feel like it's impossible to watch this movie and not just smile because it's so uplifting and it's all about like positivity and being good to other people. And it's the music is great. Viggo Mortensen, I think, is the best performance of the year in that movie. It's incredible. If you haven't seen Green Book, definitely check it out because it's still in theaters for a while.
Yeah, because it almost seemed like a nothing plot, so I was surprised to see how moved people were.
No, it's awesome, dude. Number 4 is Creed 2. We were talking about it. I freaking love Creed 2. Number 3 is, you're joking about documentaries, is a documentary. And I didn't expect to like it as much because I didn't know about the subject matter, and I ended up loving it. This Won't You Be My Neighbor.
I've heard it was great.
Yes.
I want to see it.
There
freaking
we
awesome.
Go, Jack Safer.
And you watch this movie, and you're like, Mr. Rogers is maybe the greatest guy to ever live.
I need to see this movie.
Like you've never seen such an empathetic human being.
Hard.
Yeah, bro, this movie is amazing. Highly, even if you don't like documentaries.
There are just so many beautiful moments. Like I think it does a great job of like highlighting like the most like pure, like innocent forms of like happiness, and like does a good job of like kind of like discussing the topic of like children and like media influence, and how like every single little player, you know, in whatever you're doing in the film industry or in, you know, in whatever you are in life, like can be impactful in some way, shape, or form. Like it was such like a simple children's message that like resonated so hard and so well with like adults and people who have fully grown out of the Mr. Rogers age. And like it was fucking beautiful. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. Check this movie out.
My
number 2 is a franchise that seems to have found its stride, and every time they make a movie, they knock it out of the park. And I think this one is the best one, in my opinion. Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh, so good. All right, that's my number 3. That's my number.
I'm really bummed that I didn't put it in my list
Yeah, you were the one who said it was amazing and that your Mission Impossible is your favorite action franchise. What?
I love that movie.
How did
but I didn't put
just
it in
didn't
my
make
list.
it, bro.
Yeah,
I think this movie is just so freaking sick. And if you guys have it on your list, feel free to talk about it after.
It's probably the best.
The stunts are all amazing. Like
Yeah.
half of them, I was wondering which one Tom Cruise got injured on. At first, I thought it was when he.
It was
crashes.
the building jump.
Because I know it was the building jump now, but I thought it was when he crashes because it looked so real.
Yeah, bro. This movie
out of nowhere. I was like, that looks like a real life thing.
He's a fucking bad man.
I have
and it's great for the movie.
1,000 good things to say about this
The
movie.
helicopter chase is one of the best action sequences I think I've ever seen.
It's one of the best.
Seeing that in IMAX was fucking unreal.
And what I like about the Mission Impossible movies, especially this one, is they're clever too. Like it's not just like random action explosions, a lot of just random bullshit, but it's like there's some purpose with it, especially the beginning, when like the very beginning, just instant mind fuck right away, right from the get go. And they're very good about, like, the franchise is very good about like just mixing entertainment with like being smart about it. You can be smart and entertaining at the same time, and I think that's like what they do a great job of.
Yeah, amazing. And feel free to talk about it more. I just gotta go. Last movie, best for me. This was obviously gonna be my favorite movie of the year. It's definitely the best superhero movie of the year. It's just awesome. It's Aquaman.
What?
I'm just kidding. Infinity War. I mean, this movie. You've heard me say everything there's to say about this movie. It's just.
Oh yeah, I
awesome.
loved Infinity War. Loved it.
And I struggled for a long time. I'm like, do I put this at number one? Like, obviously, it was gonna be my favorite, but like, is it worth it? And I was like, you know what? No, it's my list. It's my number one. All right, I gotta get out of here. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. I'm gonna listen to the rest of this so I can hear what you guys have to say.
All right, no problem. Check out Jack. He's the Typecast movie show. I was in a couple of episodes of the show.
You were.
Be sure to check it out.
All right, see you guys around.
See you, man. Thanks for coming.
Love you.
Continuing from my number 3, which is perfect, so we can just continue the conversation about Mission Impossible Fallout, which was awesome because that's my number 3.
Seeing the behind the scenes work is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you know in the helicopter chase, like there was no cameraman inside the helicopter? It was just Tom Cruise. He was, yeah.
What do you mean?
Like
he was from inside the helicopter.
When the helicopter, like the fucking wide ass shot from the back of the helicopter, he was controlling the camera somehow. Something like that.
What? That's crazy.
It's really weird.
That's insane.
And when he jumped out of the airplane or the helicopter, I can remember, like, the cinematographer jumped with him, and it's all just, it's unreal.
This is what Scientology does to you.
Yeah.
Big risks.
Yes, Scientology was a pretty good movie. No, I'm joking. But Mission Impossible Fallout, I loved. The acting was really good too. I wasn't a huge Mission Impossible fan before this. I had only seen Rogue Nation, which I liked, but I wasn't like huge on. I felt like it was almost like too overcomplicated, but that was from someone who had never seen a Mission Impossible before. And then I ended up watching the first one, which again, I wasn't too crazy about before this one. And then I watched Fallout. So the order I've seen them is 5, 1, 6. So now I've got to see 2, 3, 4. It's so screwed up.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, I was like, holy shit, because I wasn't a huge Mission Impossible fan. But this I was like, I want to watch them all because this movie was fucking awesome. This movie was great because it wasn't one of those it was a franchise that I never really got into. And this movie I love how everything, it wasn't too overcomplicated. Like, I felt like the first one and 5 was too overcomplicated. Does that make sense? I don't know, just my thing. But I like that this one was really easy to follow.
I like all of them, to be honest.
I totally get that. And the action, to me, this is by far like my favorite of them, of the ones I've seen. And it was like this, again, contender for number 1. I loved everything about this movie. I loved the characters. I loved the acting was really good too. Henry Cavill did a good job. It was worth him growing out that mustache, even if it meant destroying
Justice League though.
But Justice League was unsalvageable.
It was such a meme.
Oh yeah. No, but it was just great. The helicopter chase was amazing. The stunts, every single action sequence was awesome. the way the plot, it was so well paced. It just thing to thing. It kept going. It was never boring for a second. Every single action scene was a standout. I loved it. I loved pretty much everything about this movie.
Me too.
I really don't have any complaints.
I adored it.
So my number 2, we talked about in depth, Hereditary, best horror movie of the year. So good. Harrison and I know we saw it together. I really liked Hereditary a lot. I think Hereditary was very good. Very, very good. And finally, my number 1, Avengers Infinity War.
All right, okay, we're done. We're done with you, Bond. Moving on. I'm fucking.
No. So Avengers Infinity War. So like I said, my top 5 are kind of moving around. At first, I was like, Infinity War is not going to be my top 1. I thought that until just today. I was like, you know what? When I saw it, it stuck with me from when I saw it. Granted, so did Mission Impossible Creed 2, 8th grade. But like this one, I saw way back earlier in the year. And it stuck with me the entire time. And I think about this one constantly as like just a well-made, great movie. I genuinely think it's a great movie. And it's movies, one of the movies, I want to make movies like that someday. Even if I'll probably not of that scale. But it's just, I mean, maybe, who knows? But like the point is, it was crazy. What everything they pulled off with this and how well they pulled it off. It was every years and years, like 10 years of buildup, and it was all worth it. And it was a celebration for everyone who was a part of it. And the fact that everyone is still talking about it now, just everything flows with this movie. And we covered pretty much everything already. That's all I got to say. Avengers Infinity War, man. It's just, at the end of the day, all of my friends and I, varying degrees of Marvel fan, superhero fan, film fans, varying degrees, but we all felt united in that this movie was awesome. And I love movies like that.
Who's next?
I guess that's my turn.
I guess that would be, Harrison.
So my number 5 is another horror movie, a movie I saw with Vaughn that I know he hated.
I didn't hate it, but I knew it was going to be on your list.
Okay, Suspiria. Great fucking movie. One of the best horror movies in a really, 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 really long time. If we're talking about at least big budget ones.
This was like Call Me by Your Name director, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That was my favorite movie of last year.
First of all, the best thing about the movie is the acting. Tilda Swinton deserves a fucking Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, considering she plays 5 fucking characters.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she plays 5 characters in the movie.
Wait, really?
Yes, look it up. She played 5 characters.
I don't remember that.
She did. She is so. Everyone needs to see this movie just for Tilda Swinton's performance as 5 different people, because she's incredible and she's so good that you don't even notice that she's playing 5 different people. The cinematography is fantastic. The story is fantastic. It's a remake, and it's probably one of the few remakes that I think is actually better than the original. I think it loses some of the charm the original film had, but the remake has some of its own charm to it as well. My only big complaint was the movie is split into chapters, and there's an epilogue on it as well. And I think the epilogue is just really kind of sucks. And the movie has a lot of a lot of horror movies do. It has a lot of unexplained things, and I love that because it makes it creepier when you don't understand everything. But then the epilogue, they're like, nah, fuck that. Let's just explain everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the last 20 minutes of the movie just explains everything. You remember that, right, Vaughn?
I'm going to be honest, dude. I was so confused the entire time. I love the stylized filmmaking, but I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And this is a huge horror fan. I wanted to love this movie because I was really impressed with the trailers and the camera work and the directing. From a filmmaking standpoint, it was great, but I was so fucking confused. I was like, what is going on?
That's fair. It's definitely
I had no idea. When you explained it, I couldn't even get the main thing for the most part.
It's definitely
I was like, what the fuck?
For everyone.
It's not for, yeah. Really, and it's weird because I like weird movies, but this one was I admit that it was very well directed. but I was like, what the fuck?
Nathan said that he likes a mindfuck. So if anyone wants a mindfuck, definitely watch Suspiria.
I haven't seen the original.
The original is a horror classic. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah,
my number 4 is a movie that I saw a week before it came out. Also a directorial debut, mid-90s.
I really need to see that as well.
I really fucking loved it. It had a great cast. The acting was all incredible. The cinematography was strange, but not in a bad way. It was kind of shot like a 90s television show with a lot of medium shots. But I think it worked really well with the aesthetic that Jonah Hill was going for. It was just a really great movie. I even got to meet the cast after I saw it, which was a lot of fun. The main kid in it also played what's his name, Atreus in God of War. So it was fucking mind blowing, like just talking to Atreus from God of War. Yeah, mid-90s was really great. Highly recommend. Definitely one of the best coming of age stories I've seen in a really long time. Number 3, from the director of Dogtooth, The Lobster, The Favorite. The Favorite is really fucking fantastic. Literally my only problem with it is that the cinematography was kind of weird at times. There's this really heavy use of a fisheye lens, which looks really terrible, and I don't know why they did that. But besides that, the story was great. All the performances, including Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, are all fantastic. I think The Favorite is definitely up there as Best Picture material. And I wouldn't be surprised if it won. Definitely wouldn't be disappointed. I think my number 2 and my number 1, as I already said, were 8th Grade and Hereditary. As much as I'd love them to be up for an Oscar, I highly doubt it, considering
8th Grade maybe.
It's more likely than anything else in my top 5.
Yeah.
But it's about young kids in the 21st century, and the Academy is made up of old white people who I don't think are going to understand what it's like to be a teenager in the 2010s. So
yeah.
I don't think they're going to appreciate it for that. And Hereditary.
But at the same time, Lady Bird got nominated for a lot of things last year.
But it was also like an LGBT movie, right? I haven't seen it. Isn't it?
No.
Did I get that? I could have sworn. I'm sorry.
No, it's basically 8th Grade, but worse.
I guess I'm just being fucking dumb. I'm sorry. I haven't seen it, so I don't know why I thought that's what it was. Anyway, I don't know. It didn't win Best Picture though. I could see 8th Grade being nominated, but I don't think it's gonna be.
Yeah, I like 8th Grade like a lot. I loved 8th Grade, and I think it deserves a nomination.
Yeah, me too.
Because I've never seen a film depict awkwardness that perfectly. Like it didn't feel scripted. It felt like we were watching a real life.
Anyway, that's my list.
All right, Matthias.
Okay, so number 5. None of you have mentioned this. The House That Jack Built.
I heard about that.
Build it?
Jack Zappa's house?
Lars von Trier.
You told me about this, I think.
And Antichrist.
Yeah. I told you about it, Vaughn, and you didn't listen.
I didn't listen.
It's like...
Thank you, Vaughn. Very cool.
Was just so good. It's a meta commentary on, like, if you've seen the director's other movies, you're gonna appreciate this even more. It's a meta commentary on himself and on art in general, and like I laughed my ass off. It's really good dark comedy. I mean, really dark comedy. It has a lot of violence. I loved the violence. Like when I went to the theater, we were 10 people, and by the end of it, it was only me and one guy. Like eight of the 10 people literally left in various points of the film. Why? Because of the violence. And
maybe I just thought it wasn't funny.
No,
they didn't get a hee-hee out of it.
No, I think they were just disturbed.
The trailer didn't get a hee-hee out of me.
I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, I read that it was kind of pretentious though.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole point. Like the whole ego, and I think like I've discussed it with a lot of friends, and they all pretty much agree with me that the whole being pretentious and being, yeah, just having his ego way up there was part of what made the movie kind of like its thing.
Yeah,
And
I was
kind of like
tempted
the whole
to see
point.
it, but like I didn't feel like going to see a movie just to see Lars von Trier jerk himself off for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
can
I've seen
I can
anything.
see that, but at the same time, it's really funny.
Watching Lars von Trier jerk himself off for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and
That would-
there's
Just literally that would get a hee hee out of me.
yeah, I like that's not a bad description of the film, but I still enjoyed it, and
All
I
right,
laughed.
so how
And
so
the ending was really cool, like really just
was it epic?
again. Yeah, it was
Was it
badass, Vaughn.
badass?
It was pretty badass, I gotta say.
All right.
Yeah.
Approximately how many times did you hee hee during the movie?
Pretty much every single time that Fame by David Bowie came on.
Dude,
Once you see the movie, you'll understand. That song comes on like at least 8 times in the film. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, should we have a hee counter on this podcast?
Yeah, I think we should.
On
I
Vaughncast.
hee heed a lot in this movie.
The Vaughncast hee hee counter.
I've never heard the expression just hee. All right, so Matthias, was that your 5?
Yeah, that's my 5.
Okay.
My 4 is 8th grade, which we've talked about.
Mhm.
My 3, A Star Is Born, which we've talked about.
Yeah, I haven't seen
And
it too.
we haven't talked about my number 2 or my number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
Zoom 2006.
The 2018 re-release.
So Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. No, Roma was number 2.
Serious for a second, and I was gonna get really fucking pissed off. I hate it so much.
I saw the
God.
China band's Winnie the Pooh. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so Roma's my number 2 pick.
Oh, I
good
gotta
then.
see it. I
I
really
don't know
need
much
to see
about it at all, though.
It's really fucking good.
Wait,
Like,
what country is it from again?
It's
Mexico. Yeah,
it's-
so
It's from the
No big deal.
director of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, as well as
Oh, well,
Birdman.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Alfonso Cuarón.
That's yeah, Alfonso Cuarón. He did
No,
Children of
he
Men
didn't-
too.
he didn't do
Yeah, Children of Men's fucking awesome.
Children of Men's great.
Birdman was
I love it.
Alejandro.
Ah, yeah. Birdman's Iñárritu. Got confused.
Yeah,
But
no, I've heard. All right, so Roma's worth checking out.
it's really worth checking out.
All right,
It's-
man.
I think it's one of his best movies, if not his best movie.
Yeah, it's on my watch list.
And it's it's really personal, because
He's an
it's
extremely talented director.
yeah, it's autobiographical
Oh, is it?
and like loosely, but yeah, it's autobiographical, but not from his perspective, from another character's perspective, and it's just it really captures the Mexican scene in the 1970s, which was like, and it just captures it so good. Like I wasn't there, but talking with my
Wait, you
family
weren't?
and stuff. I don't know.
Were you in
I
the 70s.
yeah.
Oh, all right. No, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, Vaughn, were you there?
Yeah, man. You should have
But
hung
no,
out in the 70s in Mexico specifically.
but yeah, and it has a whole bunch of different themes and things that just speak to me and speak to Mexico in general. I don't know. It's it was really cool, really
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, it's on my watch list. I'll definitely have to watch it. It looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll have
And-
to add that to mine.
And number 1 is Boots Riley's "Sorry to Bother You." Anyone
Ah,
see
yeah.
it?
That's
Very good thing.
on my watch list. I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's on mine too.
I really liked this movie, and I was not expecting to like it at all, because I think the trailers don't do it justice at all. I saw the trailer after I saw the movie, and the trailers are just bad. Like, just don't watch the trailers. The synopsis is also really misleading. The synopsis literally says this is an absurdist critique of capitalism, and I'm like, just to an extent that's right, but I felt like that wasn't the point of the movie. And as a directorial debut, which is a thing here in 2018.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing here.
Yeah, as a directorial debut, it's fucking amazing. It's really ballsy. It's not afraid. It has a lot of dark comedy, a lot of style, and yeah, it's just absurdism done really well.
Yeah, it's on Hulu, so I definitely gotta check it out.
So yeah, those are my
all right. Yeah, that's just very solid picks. So Nathan dipped for a little while. I don't know when he's coming back. So
Shall I go?
Harrison, I guess you're up at that.
All right, so nobody's put this on their list so far. For my number 5, which is a new movie. I don't even know if you can call it a movie, but it is Bandersnatch, the new Black Mirror movie.
Yeah, that's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, but it's different, you know, different than a normal movie. Have y'all seen this yet?
No, I haven't. It's a really interesting concept, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I need to watch it. It sounds kind of like a Telltale game almost.
It's different than anything you would expect. It's really something special. And I guess I don't want to spoil this for you guys, but I really
Is it
really
better than Minecraft Story Mode?
You know, I'm ashamed to say I have not played Minecraft Story.
I was playing it ironically with my friends for part of New Year's, then we turned it off after like 5 minutes.
So basically, Bandersnatch, I think it's pretty groundbreaking in terms of what we can do with streaming and what we can do with movies and what you can show with movies. And I think it has a really great concept and a very ambiguous ending that really kind of leads it up to argument for what it can really be about.
Well, can't the ending be a number of things, or is it like one definitive ending?
You just gotta watch it. It's
okay,
it's insane. What I will say is that it's not meant to be. It's not. You're not meant to go through it once and get one ending and that's it. You know, you're really supposed to go through it as many times as you can because that's how you get the greatest understanding of.
So because even if I don't watch a lot of Black Mirror, I should check that out.
Yeah, you should.
Black Mirror is not. It's not.
I know it's not. I know it's like the Twilight Zone. Is what
Yeah.
I just could never get into Black Mirror because it feels like I watched the first season and it just felt too like nihilistic for me. Like I didn't want to like feel depressed while watching the show. You know, like every time I finished an episode, I just felt like depressed. I don't need more of that.
Yeah, I feel. I had to stop watching things sometimes because they make me too.
I love Black Mirror.
Yeah, I love Black Mirror as well.
I've seen every single episode. I saw it like back in the day.
Before
season 3
in Mexico. Back in the 70s in Mexico. Is that what you said?
Yeah, back in the 70s. When everything was black and white on
tapes.
Matthias, did you ever do the Netflix option in Bandersnatch?
Yeah. I got to all 5 endings.
Yeah, oh man,
it was just so cool.
I think
have to check it out.
One of the most interesting scenes I've seen in a movie in the past.
Yeah, me too.
Is the LSD scene?
The whole Pac-Man thing. That was
oh my God,
so fucking funny. Yeah, I love that.
No, that's it. That movie's awesome.
That was such a society moment.
Yeah.
That was a bro.
So before
effect too.
I'm going all the way to my number 1, right?
Wait, this is your number 1 right?
No. I'm just saying. I'll get to that when I get there. My number 4 is Avengers: Infinity War. Absolutely love that movie.
That was a bro moment. No, but that was so good actually.
When Thanos snapped, that was a bro moment.
That was
a bro moment.
That made me breast out of egg number 2.
Yeah. Then number 3 is Star is Born. Love that movie. Number 2, Isle of Dogs. Told you I was a Wes Anderson stan.
Yeah, very good.
And then my number 1, nobody has mentioned this yet. Bohemian Rhapsody.
I haven't seen it actually.
Because
I liked it.
okay. I thought it was
I
alright.
actually look at this meme. So I uploaded this to my story like 2 minutes ago.
All right,
My
well, for
top 10
my
list,
viewers, you can't see.
and I got 3 responses, and 2 of which said Bohemian Rhapsody. Where you at? And it's like
Bohemian Rhapsody. I really I that movie.
You posted your top 10, Matthias? Is that what it is?
yeah, and I got 2 responses saying, "Where's Bohemian Rhapsody?"
I think it's a good movie. Just it didn't really make my top 10 though. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, me too. Same. Like I enjoyed it, but
I was really looking forward to it because I love Queen. I love Freddie Mercury, but I don't know.
I think you'd probably love this movie. I think
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
it's just like with last year, I wanted to see Darkest Hour because I love Winston Churchill, and I just never got around to it.
Are you a Winston Churchill stan?
Rami Malek is an incredible actor. He really transformed into Freddie Mercury, and it's not so much of a Queen movie as it is a Freddie Mercury movie.
Yeah, I figured that. But
yeah, because it's funny, it's dramatic, it's got everything that you want, and just incredible performances from Rami Malek as well as the rest of the band, and it shows all of their greatest parts, and the ending is so great. I love it.
I think my problem with it, which I also have a problem with this, like I found this to be in like most biopics, is there was way too much shit that they wanted to show in this movie, and there were a lot of like really interesting things that the movie addressed, but I didn't think they had the time to develop it enough because we have to get to the next plot point in his life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have been better like the movie's called Bohemian Rhapsody, and there's a really long section of the movie of just them writing the song, and that was one of my favorite parts of the movie when they write the song. And I was thinking they could make an entire movie just about that week where they wrote the song. Like there's enough material there to make an entire movie out of that. Freddie Mercury's life just had so much stuff in it, and it all getting crammed into 2.5 hours. Nothing was really fleshed out enough for me, which is why it didn't make my top 10 list.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I get that complaint, but I think that they did it pretty well. And they kind of went over every part that I wanted to see for the amount of time that I wanted to see it for.
Yeah. Do you all know about the whole mess behind the scenes though?
Oh yeah, Bryan Singer.
Yeah, Bryan Singer, Sacha Baron Cohen was originally gonna play Freddie Mercury, like back like 2014, 2015. But he dropped out of like creative differences with the members of Queen because he wanted to make a rated R movie focused more on Freddie Mercury, but they wanted it to be focused more on the band. And I think
ended up making a Freddie Mercury movie anyway.
Yeah, I know. But I think the movie does portray the other members of Queen very like positively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If anything, it portrays Freddie Mercury as kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I like,
Yeah, me too.
He's a flawed and tragic character.
Yeah, but I think the others were flawed too.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
just because they got power behind the scenes that, they weren't portrayed that way.
Yeah.
Nathan had to leave for a bit, so he couldn't be with us for the rest of the conversation. So here's his top 5.
All right, so this is Nathan Shaw's top 5. At number 5, we have Bohemian Rhapsody. I've just always been a big Queen fan. I love the way that they incorporated all the music, all the songs into the soundtrack, throughout the movie. I think it was really well done, very emotional, and did a great job of really just painting that picture and paying homage to Freddie Mercury. Number 4, I have mid-90s. As a San Diego native, it was a very, very, as a San Diego native, it was a very nostalgic movie, great coming of age film that kind of depicted like a kind of SoCal lifestyle growing up pretty well. Loved the themes, loved how they used actual skaters and had them act instead of actors learn to skate. So that was really awesome to see. Number 3, I have Won't You Be My Neighbor. We covered that earlier, but just an absolutely incredible documentary that, had a lot of incredible themes and I cried in it because it was just such a beautiful documentary. Number 2, I have Annihilation. Once again, we covered that earlier. It was just total mindfuck. Absolutely incredible. Love the themes that they had throughout it. And I think it was just so well done where you're just constantly anticipating the next part of the movie. So, yeah, it really just has you on the edge of your seat the entire time. And then number 1, of course, in my opinion, one of the most important movies of this entire decade, Avengers Infinity War. I think that them bringing in so many characters and tying it together so well and coherently, and like it was just so well done. You know, everyone had their own special moment in the movie, and I think it was super awesome. So that's my top 5. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Vaughn. Really appreciate you hosting. Subscribe or follow Vaughn to keeping up with the Eccentrist Podcast.
All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed talking to you guys a lot. We've learned a lot about each other. I really hope to talk with you guys and do another podcast with you guys again. It's been really fun conversation about all this stuff. A lot of great movies this year, and I'm looking forward to 2019. Hoping to do this again next year. Anything you guys want to say?
Our next
you should make more videos.
I should make more videos.
Our next Voncast will be a dramatic reading of Lego Batman, the series by Von Coleman.
Is it as good as the Lego Batman movie?
No, Lego Batman, the series. I wrote like the first 2 episodes, and I never made it.
Let's do it. I'll play Poison Ivy.
I didn't get – that was going to be episode 3, but I never wrote it.
Oh, shit. I'll play –
Didn't you say you had a whole season down?
I had a whole season planned out, like what it was going to be each episode, but I hadn't written.
You're like the mastermind, kind of like.
Yeah, I had seasons, dude, planned out.
Damn.
All right. Well, anyway, guys.
Can I be Mr. Freeze?
Can I be Bane?
All right, guys. Well, maybe we'll do something fun like that. Let me know what you guys want to do.
You should give Mr. Freeze the Mexican spin. Make it more diverse.
Perhaps. Anyway, guys, we'll finish this in the comments. So let me know if you want to do the podcast again another time. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. See you next time.